Good morning. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere safely outside Minneapolis, Minnesota. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, January 8th, 2026. And the title of this program that you have found is called the TNAM Daily Show. I did have a different thumbnail in mind, but my 40 prompt attempts to grok AI cannot make a simple image. And I didn't feel like making it on another platform. But that's the image we go with at the TNAM Daily Show. We've also had this one, the TNAM Daily Show, a sloppier version, but this is grok generated. Another version we went with for a while, the New American Media. It's not even all that solid. We used to be called the Agree to Disagree Show. And so we had different graphics for those. Of course, the Agree to Disagree Show is the standard bearer in conjunction with the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. That was last year's season 1, Strictly Football. Then we added 2 more people to it. And it became this, Strictly Football, the Unhappy Hour, the New American Media. Check out that show as well. But yes, that's our new logo, the New American Media. I say new, it's not new. But I put this image in and I said I want the food pyramid incorporated, the new food pyramid. And I want, let's do the Minneapolis event. And it played stupid and was giving me dumb images. And I said, are you pretending to not know the 2 stories I'm talking about? Then it showed me 6 images. I said, great, incorporate them. So then it sort of incorporated them, and every version got worse and worse, and I finally gave up. Because AI, I don't know, haven't really found the best way to work with it yet. I guess that would be a question of the day. Tell us in your comments. Is there a version of AI that you use? Is there a version that you prefer? Yeah, grok AI, it's all right sometimes, and it is garbage other times. It shouldn't be complicated to generate this image. And I'm like, is it me or is it you? Look, it's not you, it's me. It's just where I'm at right now. It's not you, it's me. I always have to wonder, am I providing proper prompts to get the graphics that I need? Well, anyway, I digress, because as I was pointing at that, I remembered that I was working on graphics, and this is why I don't work on graphics. It's just it's not something I love to do, and it's not something that works well. Like I should have been able to say the thing, get a version of it, tweak it once, twice, maybe 3 times, and in 3 minutes have the task accomplished, versus I'm on the better part of an hour wasting my time on grok, wasting my time on graphics generation. Oh, is it frustrating? We all probably excel at certain things and fall short in other ways, bring different talents and gifts to the table. Man, oh man. That is what I liked about when Blake was doing the TNAM Daily Show, except we were calling it the Agree to Disagree Show at the time. Of course, we only did that show twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I couldn't do that. I fiddled with going 7 days a week and then maybe 6 days a week, but there's so much to do. Saturdays really have to be a day of me doing other projects. It just has to. And essentially what we do here at the New American Media, well, I stopped my intro. The TNAM Daily Show here on the New American Media. So what we do here at the New American Media is we show up every day at noon Eastern for now. Show might go earlier at some point down the road. It might go later at some point down the road. But for now, it's at noon Eastern, and it has been for a while. I don't recall the exact birth date of the TNAM Daily Show. I figured Agree to Disagree should be like a sit down with a guest, and then the TNAM Daily Show should be unpacking the stories in the news. That's funny. Danette in the comments says, when we say it's not you, it's me. It's always them. I know. Quite astute comment. Hit like, hit subscribe, jump into the comments. We'll get some of those pulled up on the screen in a moment. But yeah, that's what we do. We show up here. We've settled on 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, as close to it as possible, because sometimes you have appointments, sometimes you have uh, meetings, you have other things that need to happen at exact time. So there was a day this week where we went early because that was the time that was better that day. We've tweaked strictly football. I think I said that right. We've tweaked strictly football. Tweaked strictly. That's a tough back-to-back. Tweaked strictly. Sometimes it was one day a week. Other days it was Tuesdays and Thursdays. Other days it was a holiday and we made it work. So there's a little bit of leeway because we don't know what the news is going to deliver each day. You know, we're dumpster diving. I actually watch a few YouTube channels of dumpster diving. There is so much good inventory that's thrown out. It's a shame, really. It's a shame, really. But yeah, you never know what you're going to get. It's Forrest Gump with the box of chocolates. We rifle through the rubbish, separating edible, delicious bananas from used baby diapers. There's trash on one side, and there's stuff that's still good, perfectly viable merchandise, new, sealed in a box, stuff that should not be thrown out. Like, what are we doing? There's a difference, right? It's a big difference. And just that culture of throwing things out, it's just the worst. It's so gluttonous. It's so disrespectful. There's someone somewhere that wants some stuff. Maybe that's how I'm wired. Maybe that's how I was raised. Maybe we don't all have that gene in us, but you know, we want the most for our families, our loved ones, our preferred ones, our communities, our city, our state, our country. But we've watched the Democrats just calling for an increasingly violent, unhinged daily existence, a permaculture of Riot Incorporated. I don't know what year we can pinpoint. That would be a question of the day in the comments. What year did the permanent protest industrial complex begin? The permanent industrial complex. Excuse me, permanent protest industrial complex. I've never said that before. Some of these phrases they gotta roll off of the tongue. Not everything goes perfectly on the first try. But that's what you tune in for. You tune in for the train wreck. But it's not really a train wreck at all. I think here at the New American Media and for the past 15 years, TNAM has been collating a lot of relevant stories, interesting perspectives, thought-provoking angles, hot takes, rants, question marks, countervailing views. We're just here to talk about it all. I encourage everyone to subscribe to us on Rumble. I see Patriot Warrior text us over here. Reminder with another, where are we at? I think with a $5 Rumble rant, we'll be able to initiate a withdrawal to the business account, by the way. We appreciate your Rumble rants, your super chats, your monthly subscriptions on YouTube, Rumble, and Patreon. So thank you to everybody, because we just show up and play the guitar every day. We open up our guitar case. If you throw some stuff in, it helps us. It really does, especially when we spend 6 hours putting a show together, finding some of the more interesting, important, relevant, thought-provoking, funny content. And we put it together and we have a good time talking about it, and our voices are heard and questions are raised. And, you know, we don't get to everything and we don't agree on everything. That's fine. But we got to talk about everything. And I think we put a pretty good variety of topics together so that if you tune in, you're getting a good dose of a good show. I don't think we hammer topics into the dirt too much. Obviously, like when you're in it, you're going to have to, because you got to separate a lot of stuff. The dumpster has just been flipped. All right, well, go to it. Everything needs to be put from one container into another. Take out what's relevant. Go. Today's one of those days. We saw in Minneapolis what happened. Someone said it was very close to where George Floyd, that incident occurred. Minneapolis, you have Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey. I don't know what's going on. They appear to be heavily compromised Somali assets. There was that lawmaker in Minneapolis who was terrified and shaking because she had to pass a budget that wasn't going to allow unchecked payments for a lot of these Minneapolis programs. And somebody in a mask showed up and executed her. And the guy that did it allegedly wrote a letter saying that Tim Walz told him to do it, wanted him to do it. Some version of that. You've heard that. And these are all cases. These are all things that are happening. We don't know what we don't know. Donald Rumsfeld at the, I don't know, I think it was the beginning of the Iraq War after the Islamic supremacists knocked down the Twin Towers in New York City. That was 24 years before Zoran Mamdani seized control of New York and maybe a hostile takeover. Donald Rumsfeld famously said there are known unknowns and there are unknown unknowns. So anytime you have a case, whether it's the executed Minneapolis lawmaker or whether it's an incident in the street, some lady drives her car, her vehicle hits I believe it was an ICE agent, maybe DHS, I think it's ICE, who responds with fire. 3 shots in 1 second. You've seen the picture of the one shot through the front window. You've seen the multiple angles. Hopefully you're looking at all sources and not just zooming in on the tree and you lose sight of the forest. You got to kind of listen to all the stuff. One of the ladies on the scene said this lady was looking for problems. She was one of the main instigators causing problems. I think then she was interviewed later and she maybe changed her tune. There's a lot that we're sifting through. And there's a 72-hour rule. Words of wisdom from John Correa. Shout out. He's been a guest on the program before. You know, I think John, like many others I know, if I stay engaged, I'm curious to see what they're up to. Interesting people. Who maybe reach different conclusions for the same reasons. And you go, if we had the same information, how did you reach a different conclusion? Or you reach the same conclusion, but different ways, or the same conclusion the same way, or different conclusions for different way. Whatever it is, it's quite a bit of time. You'll scroll through and it's like, you agree, you disagree. You're like, and I'm on a text thread. Let me shift off of that because I'm in a text thread and I'm just gauging, testing the water, saying, so what's your take on the shooting? And this person's take was really anti-cop, anti-agent. And, oh, well, you know, the first shot might have been okay, but the subsequent 2 shots, and you're like, it happened in 1 second. What are you talking about? Well, it's not like he was even hit. Huh? Did you see the second video? Well, I mean, he was hit, but everybody knows you shouldn't have put yourself there. Well, yeah, of course. But now you're blaming the rape victim for, well, she shouldn't have worn that dress. She should have known. She'd be irresistible to the animals, and they'd just hump her leg like a rabid dog. So this isn't my text message thread. This isn't John, what John said. What John was saying specifically, let me refocus back to that. John Correa, Active Self-Protection. Go check that site out. ASP, Active Self-Protection. He narrates self-defense moments and plays the video and teaches us what we should know. How do you say it? He contracts out his analytical services for defense, either for prosecution or defense. I don't know what the parameters are exactly. In some sort of legal sense, he will serve by looking at the video and offering his opinion. And I think that's part of the business model. But check it out, Active Self-Protection, because you should have a protective plan for every situation you go into. And you look at this and you say, well, that's why you don't put yourself in that situation. What in hell was this woman doing? I read that she has 3 kids. Does she have 3 kids who don't have a mom anymore? What were you doing? Why were you in that position? Who was in your ear telling you that you needed to go do this? Oh, they're being called Gestapo. They're being called Nazis by the Democrats. Why are you doing this? If you're not just a domestic terrorist organization, Democrat Party, why are you causing all of this anguish into the minds of people that will take such drastic actions to insert themselves into the middle of a what do you call it, a customs, an immigration legal proceeding, as if you have any idea what you're doing or as if you have any business being there. And on top of it, fine, you want to be there on the sidewalk. Fine, you want to document. Be there and document. That's one thing. Blocking traffic and when you're getting arrested, not complying with that as the door's trying to be opened and you gun it and hit another officer. This is on Jacob Fry, whatever that guy's name is. I got to figure out what his name is. It's on Tim Walz. It's on the Democrats because they push this shit. They did it 5 years ago. And remember, it was at the same time where nobody liked the Democrats. They were totalitarian tyrants. We saw it during COVID. We saw it as soon as Biden seized control. And America soundly rejected it. But Minneapolis has been conquered in part by the Somalis, but definitely by the deep state. 2% of our American 50 states have been conquered. Yeah, Somalia appears to be literally changing the state flag to show conquest and domination so that those resources can be looted and plundered and sent back to that country. So what happens now? Jacob Fry has a tough talk, and Tim Walz has a tough talk. And they're threatening using the National Guard, and you're hearing about the Insurrection Act in response. Where does this go from here? There's a lot to unpack. My point with John Correa and active self-protection is that he advises a 72-hour rule. And that rule is basically shut up. Just shut up. You're going to really dig in and think you know what you're going to think you know. You do not know. Whether it's a mass casualty event, because it's always, he will post, remember 72-hour rule is in effect. And it's a good reminder. It's good coaching. It's good. It's a good operating protocol of how to think. How to think. Another person who's going through it right now, Scott Adams, podcaster, who has said that he has some sort of personal relationship with Jesus Christ, that he would, something about saving his soul, becoming born again, something. He's on it. He's taking care of it. He appreciates everyone that's asked him to convert before he passes, but to respect his privacy at this time. But he appreciates it, and I think he said something along the lines of he's decided to do it. But apparently Scott said that this might be the last show that he does, the one that he did today. He got through half of it. And he's in hospice. He's no longer taking any medication, I think is what he said, or something along those lines. But Scott, the reason I bring him into this conversation is that he would try to teach you how to think. Not so much what to think, but how to think about it. And so that's what I'm going to try to do today. Scott would always famously say, like, I don't know, something about this story, it's a little too on the nose. Like, is this an operation? Is this real? Now, that's not to suggest that this didn't happen, but it is weird when the simulation winks at you like this. You're telling me 5 years later in the same city where George Floyd set the country on fire because the Democrats weaponized it to try to take out their very, very, very popular opponent? I mean, this happens at the same place, roughly the same place. Now, it wasn't exactly the same intersection. That would just be, I'm out. I'm done. Can't do it anymore. But sometimes things are a little too on the nose. Point being, it's just, we need to have a procedure in place for how to process news stories. Even if it's stuff that makes us angry, this whole get out there and start screaming thing, it's very played out. It's very played out. And it's heavily financed by sources and financiers who want to see the destruction of this country and want to take this president's agenda out with the trash. They want to continue the foreign invasion and the plundering, the piracy, the looting of the resources. You've heard those complaints about capitalism. Oh, they go in and colonialism. Oh, the English, they go in and they take the mines and the resources and they screw over the people. That's actually the story of Venezuela 25 years ago, making sure that only a few select people get to be filthy rich and everybody else is suffering eating dogs. Maybe not exactly that bad, but definitely not good. Ask around. Venezuela has definitely been plundered of resources. And that's exactly what the deep state Democrats have been up to, plundering America's resources. 38 trillion? How much of this is waste, fraud, and abuse? And this whole scandal with Tim Walz, it's so interesting, a little too on the nose maybe, that Tim Walz is facing major accusations. Of course, the allegations that have been tossed around that he's been accused of wanting that Melissa. Let me pull up that story. I want to articulate this properly. Let me at least ask Grok, what is the accusation of the guy who, the Minnesota lawmaker who voted on yearly budget that wouldn't let Somalis steal? TLDR version. You always got to say too long didn't read version, or else it'll give you like 45 pages on it. Melissa something. What was the guy? Okay, Melissa Hortman. The incident refers to June of 2025, the assassination of Minnesota Democratic lawmaker Melissa Hortman, former House Speaker, and her husband. Let me ask one more question. Did he write that? Okay. Melissa Hortman, former House Speaker, and her husband, Lance Luther Bolter, a conservative with a hit list targeting mostly Democratic politicians and abortion rights activists. Authorities described it as politically motivated violence. Bolter faces federal state murder charges. See, they're falsely linking this to a separate major fraud scandal in social programs. Okay, that's not helpful, Grok. Misrepresent Hortman's vote in a budget deal, reluctantly supporting the removal of health care for undocumented immigrants to avoid a shutdown. Now, that's what I said. Not opposing Somali fraud. Yeah, non-citizens of Minneapolis were not going to access the services of the state. No evidence connects the assassination. Lawmakers repeatedly debunked it as misinformation. Okay, Tim Walz did not want Vance to do that. The claim comes from a handwritten letter found in Bolter's abandoned vehicle, addressed to the FBI, where Bolter himself. See, this is not helpful either. They're adding the word falsely. You don't know that it's false. That's an ongoing. You don't know that that Bolter's accusation is false. The letter allegedly says that Bolter himself was approached by Governor Tim Walz and ordered the killings of Democratic officials, Senators Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith as well, so Walz could pursue a Senate seat. Authorities from the U.S. Attorney's Office describe this as delusional, incoherent, and baseless, likely an attempt to misdirect investigators or excuse his crimes. Zero evidence of any involvement by Walz. He had no personal relationship with Bolter, only a routine reappointment to a large unpaid advisory board in 2019. Walz publicly called the shootings a politically motivated assassination, mourned Hortman as a close friend and ally, attended her funeral, and condemned conspiracy theories linking him to it, claims that were amplified by President Trump in January of 26. That's now. Bolter's actual hit list targeted mostly pro-choice Democrats and abortion providers, consistent with his recorded anti-abortion preaching, not any directive from Walz, whose name was also on the list as a potential target. They call this a debunked conspiracy theory pushed in some right-wing circles with no supporting facts from investigations. Okay. Is it important that we know that? Now you know what Grok has to say about that accusation. But what is definitely being accused right now in our halls of federal government is every piece of fraud and corruption, waste and abuse, theft and piracy in Minneapolis. Specifically, what Tim Walz, it's not that some people got away with some stuff while he wasn't looking. He turned his back for a split second and the dingo got you, baby. No. You were leading the orchestra. You were leading the orchestra. You weren't just asleep at the switch. You were complicit, a co-conspirator to the overthrow of your country, to the point where you even cucked, you even genuflected, you bowed and gave penance, you danced to the song, you ate the beans, you kissed the wall, whatever you have to do to show your allegiance, to prove your undying fettered allegiance to someone. That theft of Minnesota funds was intentional, and you were a part of it, Tim Walz. That appears to be fairly obvious to me. Everyone's innocent unless proven otherwise, but still. So the point that John Correa makes, and it's there's actually a phrase for it. What is the 72-hour rule referred to as? There's a name for it or something. In a post, somebody. Oh, look at that. Commentators like Dan Bongino and John Correa advise people to wait 72 hours before forming strong opinions or commenting. Gives time for initial misinformation, incomplete videos, and emotional reactions to settle, allowing more facts like body cam footage, witness statements, investigations to emerge. It's often invoked to avoid rushing to judgment in fast-moving stories where early reports are frequently wrong or biased. Anyway, I thought there was a name for it, but moving on. Point being, I typed in there because he was saying that that's, telling people on his thread that that's to remember to do that. And then subsequently saying he deleted several profiles that refused to do that and wanted to come in and argue it. And I just asked him, yeah, of course that's prudent, but look, I got to talk about it. I got to talk about it today. We're all talking about it. So let's break down what we're seeing. Let's listen to perspectives and figure out what sounds like it makes sense and sounds like it doesn't make sense. Things likely to be true, things 100% true, things completely false, things debunked, fake stories, knowingly deceptive peddling of misinformation and disinformation. There's a lot of stuff to sift through. And that's what we plan on doing on today's program. So buckle up. The TDAM Daily Show. Well, that starts right now.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Appreciate having you here. Let's pull up your comments onto the screen. Who's in the house today? Hello, John Brenneman. John designed some mugs for the New American Media. They are black and white and red all over like the newspaper used to be. And this can be yours. Let me put up the link on the page. Shoot us a Venmo. $40. It'll include $10 of continental USA shipping. There we go. Put it up on the screen there. If you want a New American Media mug to help fund our efforts while we play the guitar with our guitar case open, hoping people throw quarters in, $40 for a mug. It can be yours. It can sit on your shelf just like Kenneth has one, just like this one that I use for my daily coffee now. It is a ritualistic act to have that cup of coffee in the morning. In fact, Coffee with Scott Adams, that's the name of the show. And he does a simultaneous sip. How does he say it? Let's see if I can do in honor to Scott Adams. In the continued prayers for the Lord to enter his heart the way that he wants him to. And that if there's any miraculous or life-saving things that could occur, this would be the time. However, if he's entered hospice because there is no other option left and it is inevitable, give him strength and clarity and comfort, wisdom, and let him feel the love of the regular listeners who have been checking out his show for years. In your name we pray. Amen. It is a simultaneous sip. How does that go? It goes... all you need is a cup or a mug or a glass, a tankard, chalice or stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip, and it happens. Now, go. That's good coffee. Okay, I added the stupid part at the end. Yeah. Yeah, I got to say that sucks. The Scott Adams program was a good one. Is a good one. But, I mean, he signed off today 30 minutes into an hour show, and he basically said, I'm on hospice. I'm off all my stuff. There's nothing. I appreciate it, but like we're not trying anything new. We're not getting experimental treatments. We're at the end here. He said he had a nurse tell him that if a client is not depreciating, what am I deteriorating by the month, then they have months left. If they're deteriorating by the week, they have weeks left. If they're deteriorating by the day, that's a tough word to say. Deteriorating by the day, they have days. He goes, and I'm definitely deteriorating by the week. And he couldn't keep his eyes open. He couldn't stay with it. And he says if he doesn't do another show, yeah, this might be the last one. So who's in the comments here? The cat thinks. Hold on, where's this at? I thought we already started. What do you think we already started? Welcome, hit like, hit subscribe, the cat thinks, and everybody else. Yeah, hit like, hit subscribe, tell a friend, and we're going to figure out what's going on in the world, shall we? I think let's start here at home. Not there. We'll start here at home. Good. I shared this at the end of yesterday's show, and I just said, I want to start tomorrow with a little bit of laughter. I didn't realize that, Floyd 2.0 might be here. But regardless, I think we need to start with a little bit of laughter. I found it to be pretty great. Let's pull this up. And if you watch Stranger Things, so somebody posted a picture of Tim Waltz's kid. It says Kamala's stepdaughter. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Kamala Harris's stepdaughter. There you go. Sorry. Kamala's stepdaughter could be the most beautiful woman in the world, mused whoever that was. The commenter says, she looks like the entire cast of Stranger Things. See, that's a good-natured joke. It's not really like a super low-hanging fruit insult. It's just objectively funny. She looks like the entire cast of Stranger Things. Glad we got to lead with that one. Oh, I guess we could do this one too. This is Greta Thunberg here. Reminder that you need to trade your Palestinian flags in for Venezuelan flags. You know, because there's a few outside sources that keep funding the anti-U.S. protests every single day, everywhere. It's a non-stop machine of misinformation, disinformation, and it's a constant attack on the nation. It's gotten old. It's gotten very old. Very transparent. But I want you, I want to show you this, but I don't want to get flagged for it. But this is so crucial. This is a What We Do in the Shadows 2019 to present series. Is that what this is? The comments are like, now imagine AI doing this same thing only 100 times faster and efficient. So when you argue with people online, I want you to realize this. Just make sure you're not flagging this. I'm making original transformative commentary upon this piece where this is an educational commentary about our zeitgeist, our modern day scenario. So remember this video the next time you're arguing with someone on the internet. Watch this. One of the best things you'll ever see.
One of the best ways to drain people's energy nowadays is via the internet.
There you go. The vampire. The modern day vampire. How you drain people's energy.
This woman is an astrophysicist. Actually, this is not how space works. Read a book.
Isn't that exactly what it seems like? I am telling you, I have 20 to 50 hate followers. And it's fine. Look, the name of the show for 14 years was called the Agree to Disagree Show. That's fine. We can disagree. I just say keep it mostly civil. We don't need to become completely disagreeable. But it's almost like whatever I do, you have this guy. Oh, it's an astrophysicist. Actually, that's not how space works. Read a book. It's like they only exist to be this character in your life. They're a NPC, a non-playable character in this video game simulation we call life. And they're just someone in a room doing this.
Now I just wait for the comments to come in. Hey, can you mansplain any louder? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. The comment, bro's working on his PhD in rage baiting.
These are all different accounts that I have set up. The energy you get this way isn't quite as pure, but if you do enough of it, it'll fill you up.
He sounds like a nutritionist there. Talking about protein and carbs or something. Andrew in the comments says, read a book. That is a goated response.
Shanghai sucked. Where was the Chinatown? Jason Mraz is just too weird for me. Jesus actually hates horses.
Jesus actually hates horses. Hold on, wasn't there a horse thread in this comment thread? Sorry, I thought I saw, yeah. Oh, Tim and the horse. Tim likes the horses. All right. That's what it was. Hello, everybody. The cat thinks here, responding to what we were talking about in the intro. I don't buy the whole exploiting their resources bit. What are they supposed to do? Leave it in the ground? Venezuela had the highest per capita standard of living in the Western Hemisphere before the gangsters took it over. Yes. And by the way, the gangsters, they're Democrat. What was I calling them yesterday? The Democrat cartel. That's what this is. It's organized crime. It's the overthrow, the coup of a nation. Precinct by precinct, city by city, state by state, to take the nation. Yeah, the people of the country need to be living well. That's when you know you're doing a good job, when they're doing okay. And it's been tough. It's been pretty tough lately, huh? For a lot of people. And when, what'd you say? The 72-hour Ja Rule? Now, I did see Ja Rule in concert. I've told you that story. That was the day that I tipped too much. Yes, that was the day that I tipped too much at the bar in Mexico. Danette says It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia had a dumpster diving episode. Yeah, I've never really watched that show, but I will check that out. When I went to Taos, New Mexico, building earth ships, off the grid, self-sustainable homes, I was there with a whole bunch of hippies. And we went into town, and there were some markets, some grocery stores, and they left food out in the back. They would leave produce that, we're not selling this. We can't sell this. They put it in coolers or whatever, and people would just go by and take what they needed. Go get to perfectly fine tomatoes and just peppers and potato, just all sorts of fresh vegetables and fruits. And just go grab a bunch of free food, bring it back, and cook it up for everybody. It's always interesting when you get around the idealists and the hippies. You make the joint meal, and it's like you all participate. You see where capitalism is needed when you got to do the dishes. That is a good analysis right there, if I don't say so myself. No, but there's a lot to unpack there. Grabbing free food that doesn't cost you anything. Yeah, a little bit of time cleaning up, chopping, dicing, cooking, sauteing, spinning, flipping, spooning, serving, whatever. Okay, creating a meal, baking. All right, fine. But in an egalitarian society, who's doing the dishes? One of my compatriots, when I moved into the Earthship, Greater World Earthship Hive, housing for interns, volunteers, and employees, hung a sign at the kitchen that says, "Washing your dishes is sexy." Because people needed a reminder. Oh, it's all fun and games when you're eating food, but who's got to do the work? Nobody really wants to do dishes. But in capitalism, you do it because it's part of the process. In a commie state, things tend to pile up a little bit. Maybe you're not taking the recycling out. Maybe you're not taking the trash out. Maybe you're a deadbeat roommate, like I had. What? You want to come up? Okay, come up. Let's go if you want in the show. You want me to lift you into the show? Okay. We will bring Mr. Nimbus into... Whoa! You want to jump up there? Why don't you just sit here with me? It'd be so much easier if you sat. But yeah, we did some dumpster diving. There was the point. I'm sorry, there was a point to that. Okay. Comments, not sure if it's AI or not, but you have luck with Copilot. Okay, cool. Danette says, I love the agree to disagree. You love the name, the Agree to Disagree show? Or you love the concept of being able to agree to disagree? Either way. Yeah, prior to the program, I was listening to some Tool, Parable and Parabola. Parable and Parabola. This is your moment of zen where Nimbus gets his daily skull massage. Pampered and spoiled. Well, hey, guy. Anyway, Nimbus is the king. Exactly. David said, yeah, Scott Adams did not sound so great today. Exactly. Okay. back to, remember who you're arguing with online. Jesus actually hates horses.
Childhood obesity, LMFO.
I think he even spelled it wrong. LMAFO. But he spelled it wrong. Yeah, that's the reaction. Childhood obesity, LMFAO, or whatever it is. Yeah, RFK Jr., if he says something, the left has to shriek about it. Yeah, who would have known prioritizing meat and eggs and olive oil and butter and vegetables and fruits? Like, who would have known that's better than 1,000 servings of heavily pesticide sprayed grains to rot our gut? Who would have known? But if RFK Jr. or President Trump say it, then it's got to be bad, right?
When they call you a dumbass, you know you've got them.
Yep. Have you ever found yourself in a flame war online and you go, am I even arguing with a person or a bot? Like, who's on the other end of this? Who cares? Yeah, I regret to say I should have been spending my time writing books instead of arguing with people and typing things. Like, I probably, but it also helps me sharpen and refine my arguments, I guess.
They called me a dumbass. Women are getting too tall.
To be fair, that might be true.
Yeah. You can drain their energy via social media without having to even be near them.
You can drain their energy on social media without having to be near them. I'm not telling you the Republicans are perfect. I'm not telling you they're all that great, but I am telling you the Democrats and what they do to rile people up and keep everybody miserable and negative and unhappy and angry and belligerent. It is brutal. You cannot keep a country if that's how relations are going to go. You just can't. Right, Nimbus? You agree? Nimbus agrees.
That is racist. You're correct.
You are correct.
It is. Oh, yeah. 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 Oh, they hate me.
It's surprisingly simple to get total strangers completely furious with you.
And how often does this happen when it's someone you've never interacted with, you don't know? Now you've taken 5 minutes of your day. You've taken 10 minutes of your day. Maybe you've spent an hour. You've done this back and forth over several days. Is it pointless? You know, to some degree, yeah. But on other degrees, like, you're also trying to figure it out. You're trying to get to the bottom of stories, of course. So
They should get a life.
they should get a life.
One of
Because they're arguing with me. They should get a life. Actually, that's a great line. I'm going to type that. Is Nimbus standing on my? No. They should get a life. That's great. Because while he's doing this, he's not acknowledging that he's the problem.
'Twas the night.
I'm glad I preloaded this show yesterday with just some uplifting things because, you know, the main topic of today, it's like it's sort of been talked about and we're still learning some stuff and we'll get to it in a moment, but at least a little bit of levity. At least a little bit of levity. Here's Jordan Peterson reading The Night Before Christmas. Merry belated Christmas, everybody. This guy, Alex DeWitt, does a really good Jordan Peterson and a really good Tucker Carlson that I played last night. So here you go.
Night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Well, for God, if you clean your goddamn room, you won't have a rodent problem. The children nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's get them hooked on fructose and toxins from a young age. RFK will have a goddamn field day when he reads this. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang...
Wait, what'd you do? Just no, Nimbus is making it mute. Come on.
from my bed to see what was the matter. It's an intruder, that's what's the matter. A real man defends his keep. If you're not protecting your family, you're as good as that goddamn mouse. You know what? I'm done reading this story. Get lost. 'Twas the...
Follow this dude, Alex DeWitt comedy. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. All right, we're talking about capitalism versus the other crapisms. Bill Maher, of course, he's going to be pro-capitalist. He's, I wonder what his net worth is. He's been rolling in it for decades. Good for him. But here's a breakdown of capitalism versus socialism. Which one would you rather have?
Here's capitalist South Korea at night from space. Here's socialist North Korea. Yeah. In 1990, Venezuela was wealthier than Poland. But then Poland, finally free of Soviet-style economics, went all in on capitalism. And now their economy is as big as Japan. And people there have high wages, low inflation, cars, vacations, homes. Meanwhile, Venezuela traded capitalism for Hugo Chavez's socialism for the 21st century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century, or any century, a mess.
That was some aggressive clapping. I wonder if that was a set producer really trying to sell everybody clap at that, because that's not something they're normally conditioned to get ready to clap at. This is the modern Democrats have lost their minds with this commie crap. It was just a super enthusiastic person in the crowd, but to me, it seemed like that was the set producer. Really, come on, guys, big clap on this one.
It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening. Zoran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar. Here's...
Yep. But that's the lie that they feed, the useful idiots. And that's what happens when the people aren't living well enough. When you start stealing all their money and causing inflation and nobody can afford their groceries, you can't afford your mortgage, you can't afford all your bills, people will accept anything. All sorts of lies start to sound good when they're not doing well. You've got to reject this stuff. And unfortunately, that's all the Democrats have been peddling for decades now. Their policies don't work. People don't like them. And this is what they try to sell. And this is what they preach: anger, hate, envy, and greed. Let's check in with, that's not Peppermint Patty. That's Sideshow Bob. What was her name again? Corinne Jean-Pierre. Brett Lee reminds us that Democrats last year said certain things about Maduro, but now they're saying different things.
He turned to Venezuela, where Maduro once again demonstrated his complete disregard for democratic norms and proceeded with his illegitimate inauguration. As President Biden emphasized during his meeting with President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia on Monday, January 6, we believe that it is essential that the will of the Venezuelan people is respected. In coordination with our partners, we've given Maduro and his representatives every opportunity to restore democracy, but they haven't. So today we are building on all of our previous actions and taking further major actions. We announced new sanctions on key Maduro-aligned officials as a part of our efforts to hold them accountable, and we imposed more visa restrictions totaling nearly 2,000 individuals. We also increased the reward amount to $25 million for Nicolas Maduro and his so-called Minister of Interior as part of the Department of State's Narcotics Rewards program. Quickly turn.
Yeah, but now it's leave Maduro alone. Same regime, same crimes. The only different, Trump's name has entered the chat. TDS is a national health crisis button. Sanctions. All right, well, let's start through what we see in the videos. Graham Allen shared this. Allegedly in Minneapolis, I believe this is. Watch this guy on the left. He attempts to steal the weapon from a federal agent, who then the person learns the hard way. Here's how you find out. I don't know why it says she learned the hard way. That's a guy. Is that guy?
Kill someone else! Go for it! Kill someone else!
He's got his hand on the gun, reaching to pull the gun off. This is what's happening. This is what it's about to get to. This is not going to get better with the Democrats throwing gasoline onto the bonfire. This is not going to end well. The Democrats are pushing this. The Democratic cartel, the Democrat cartel. The true insurrectionists, I don't know.
Kill someone else!
I don't know what that was. Just like bee pollen? Because if that were that would have left a canoe, a hollowed out canoe, if you're shot at close range with something that's real munitions.
Kill someone else! Get back!
And everyone's there to film and get the gory details for you to see, front and center. But they're saying kill someone else, like that had the lady ran into the cop or the ICE agent or DHS. I'm not entirely certain which department. I guess maybe this was after that on the timeline. Okay, let's tell you what President Trump was talking about. He says, for a very long time, buying and owning a home was considered the pinnacle of the American dream. It was the reward for working hard and doing the right thing. But now, because of record high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress, that American dream is something. Yeah, banks thought they were going to be offering 50-year mortgages, but they just got a shock to the supply side. Hammer says property tax. I can't read through that. James Wood says this is an American president standing yet again for the little guy in America. The big corporate vultures with their useful idiots in the Democrat Communist Party will no longer destroy the classic American dream of affordable home ownership. Bravo, Mr. President. So President Trump is coming out to try to get legislation. He's pushing to get the Black Rocks and the Vanguards and the private equity firms, get them barred from purchasing single-family homes. Why are they buying up all the supply and nobody can afford the ones that are left? You're raising the value, which is good if you're a homeowner in theory, but like where are you going to go also? Because those are going to get bought up by the private venture capitalist companies or whatever you call them, the Black Rocks, the private equity firms, I think is the term I'm looking for. So that whole news got wiped aside. We're not really talking about that and how we need to turn that into a law. And I said, I go, that's a great start, but we need to have like a 1% mortgage on our primary home and then a 1% mortgage on our second home, which can be an investment property that you could liquidate if necessary. But if you own something in your community, if you can own an investment property in your own community, all right, fine. Maybe you don't own 100 of them, but what if you own one and that can be your local piggy bank? Then it's not with Bear Stearns. It's not with Exxon. It's not with, Halliburton. What were the ones that crashed in 07, 08? Type in the comments. What were the names of the companies' stocks that crashed that led to the absolute disaster in our economy in 07, 08, 09? Remember that time? Oh, I do. I just got my first place. And I was screaming to just let them all fail. Let it go through the bankruptcy process. Let them sell. Liquidate, let new people come in and buy it at the actual value. And they just propped it up. They prolonged it, and it was awful. Because they wanted to make sure all the bankers protected their asses, and the rest of us were screwed. Horrible policy by Obama. I know you could be blamed like, oh, well, that was happening under Bush or that was inherited or okay, fine. But like the answer to it was the exact wrong answer. The free market should have handled it, but they made it very complicated. All right. I follow this person. What does she go by? Della Temple. Comedian and commenter and something. Here's some thoughts on the shooting. See if you agree or disagree. Where's the volume?
Fatally shot in self-defense for trying to run over an ICE officer. Here's a super slowed down video of her smacking him with her car. Again, she hits the gas, smacks the officer with her car, then he shoots. Next clip I'm going to insert actually has audio. You can see very clearly that she strikes the officer with her car, then you hear the gunshots after. The Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey, that you see dancing around with Somalians and eating wet beans with them and pretending that they're tasty, immediately sided with the terrorist who tried to murder an ICE agent with her car. Of course he did.
But I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looks like to have no backbone, no moral compass, and to be bought and paid for. This
super tough guy posturing.
This man has and will do anything for more Democratic votes. Side with terrorists.
Sell your country out, commit treason.
Or even bawl his little eyes out over George Floyd's casket. You know, George Floyd, who was on enough drugs to take out a rhino. I've seen more testosterone than this on set of The Golden Girls. I can attest with all the certainty of my being that any one of these women could bench more than Jacob Frey. Democrats would always feel more comfortable if you were to just let people murder you and not defend yourself. Always seek the truth. I can't imagine the spin mainstream media is going to put on this.
Oh, the spin indeed. Let's listen to the witnesses. 29, Chasing Death, says witness to deadly ICE incident. Let's take a listen.
Clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
That was her goal. They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car.
All right. Witnesses say Renee Good was leading the harassment of officers with her vehicle. From a witness, not from me. Misfit Mama wants to ask, why did Trump... What is this? Real Robert said today is January 1st, 2026. And President Trump then tweeted this out, or Truth Socialed this out. Let's take a look. Real Robert said, this is January 1st, 2026. This is a CIA analyst, Michael Scheuer, PhD, confirming. Do you believe votes were manipulated and changed electronically in favor of Joe Biden? And if so, how was it done? By the way, this is where I have to put this on the screen because the YouTube, Google overlords at tech, they don't want you thinking about this topic. They don't want you to consider that it's possible that anything can be stolen in this country. Also, don't even take a look at what's happening in Minneapolis. There's no way they could be stealing our resources in Minneapolis. By the way, stop looking, stop talking, stop creating content. And if you do, maybe we'll demonetize you and take away your ability to pay your mortgage, leading to a mortgage crisis. Isn't that awesome, YouTube? So, under duress, I'll tell you, go get your countervailing views on anything regarding COVID or vaccines or food pyramid or RFK Jr. or the 2020 election sham. Go get your countervailing views at cisa.gov/rumor control, who.int, and cdc.gov. I tell you this under duress because the people working at Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Meta, they have been removing content, blocking content, demonetizing, shadow banning, harming content creators that talk about this subject. But am I claiming anything in this moment? No, what I'm showing you is something that this person from Misfit Mama shares, a Real Robert post that they say was then reshared by President Trump on his Truth Social account. You can take that or leave it for what it is, but can you believe all of the legalese that we have to go through just to try to cover a story without having it get flagged as unsuitable for monetization? The equivalent of someone walking by your guitar case and saying, hey, I'm glad you worked all day. I'm just going to take all this and go the other direction, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's how it works. Which is why we have Rumble Rants and Super Chats, direct donations, as well as Patreon if anybody would like to toss something in. Friendly reminder, we're $5 away on Rumble from making another transfer out of that account. When it hits milestones, then you can make a transfer. So with another $5 Rumble Rant, we will activate that. Thank you to everybody who's helped us make these monetization modes available. So let's continue what Real Robert had to say here, allegedly, according to Misfit Mama, who I'm not even following. So I'll just follow him. I don't know. I'll follow almost anyone. This post says, the Central Intelligence Agency toppled the United States government on November 3rd, 2020, live on national TV. Once again, a Real Robert post purported to be shared by President Trump, according to Misfit Mama. Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide. Now that was so toxic. You weren't allowed to even mention that was a possibility, right? Okay, that being said, data analysis finds 221,000 Pennsylvania votes switched from President Trump to Biden, 941,000 Trump votes deleted. States using Dominion voting system switched 435,000 votes from Trump to Biden. Was it this when Jack Smith testified and said that the candidate who ran for the presidency of the United States, Donald Trump, did not have a First Amendment right to say the 2020 election was stolen? Yeah, because then they went after him for having an opinion. They went after him for saying these things. So go to cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views on that stuff you just heard. Yeah, we watched it live. We saw the number switch. We were so confused. Text came pouring in telling me the same thing. I think Maduro will make a deal and give up the absolute proof we need to throw people in jail. That's the rumor. That's the theory. So here's the question of the day. Do you agree or disagree that Maduro is going to turn and sing like a canary, providing evidence that Venezuela participated in the overthrow of the United States government in 2020? Agree or disagree? I've been hearing about that for years. Wouldn't some proof be nice? Because I don't see that posted. But anyway, Misfit Mama said, why would Trump post that? Anyway, I would read this whole situation as, I don't know if anything Real Robert said is accurate. I don't know if President Trump posted this on Truth Social. I know that Misfit Mama posted it, purporting it to be that way. And I can confirm to you that I've listened to 1,000 perspectives on Venezuela rigging the 2020 election, and my curiosity's piqued. But it's time for evidence, if there is any, I would say. Candace Owens has entered the chat now. Some people say, well, why are people saying Candace Owens has never discovered anything to help find Charlie's killer? She's done more than the FBI, and here's one instance all by itself. By the way, this is what Candace is saying, as shared by Godfather of Chaos. I don't know what's true, but I want to look under every stone and find out what in the heck is going on with the Charlie Kirk situation.
Get away with this. Remember the messages and like, oh, here's what happened. I don't want anybody to know. Make sure you delete this letter that's under the keyboard, but take a picture of it before you delete it. But read it and then destroy it. He's trying to get away with this crime. Well, he used his credit card. That's how they found it. And so what they did was the right thing. They contacted the feds. Now, that's interesting because I would imagine that after 33 hours, when they sort of gloriously come out and yeehaw, we got him, I would have, and call me crazy, I don't know how this stuff works. I'm not an expert, right? We're not experts, but I would imagine the first thing that they would do is that they would probably just try to figure out where he'd been. And maybe one way they would do that would be going through his credit card charges. I would imagine the federal government had that capability, but they didn't do that. Instead, they were contacted days later by this restaurant. The server filed a report responsibly and said, yeah, he was here. We have the literal receipt.
We got the receipt.
The literal receipt. And they explained that Tyler Robinson was not very talkative. He seemed absolutely fine and normal and was texting on his phone. Maybe that's when he was sending more messages to his lover as he was eating a steak. He was sure hungry, is what I would say, but calm nonetheless. He didn't have the jitters. He wasn't scared. He was just hungry. Now, what's fascinating to me is what happens after, because again, I'm expecting that the feds would go, well, let us get down there. Let us get down to Panguitch. Let us start interviewing everybody. Let's start checking all these cameras around here to see if we've got them. No, that's all they did. They sort of were obliged to call them back and to say, okay, what happened? And then that's it. The trail goes cold. Now, remember, I told you guys that I wanted to get away with this. Remember the messages and like, oh, here.
So I'm a little confused as to where dinner was supposed to be or the meal was supposed to be. And what does a meal prove? It just means that they were able to regulate their breathing and sit down and eat because they were hungry. Or are you saying this is in a place so far away at the exact same time that he couldn't have done it? I'm not entirely certain here. Are you following Candace? Do you have what are your latest thoughts on Candace and her investigation into the shooting of Charlie Kirk? David Bann says he already has talked, in my opinion, referring to Nicolas Maduro or Nicolas Maduro. You just say Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro. You suspect after they grabbed him, he went straight to Gitmo before going into the USA? Maybe. David, do you think this stuff is all part of the script? Oh, part of the script. Kenneth comments that Candace has been owing me money for some time now. Wah, wah. I'm starting to wonder if they're going to arrest the Colombian president when he comes here to visit. Yeah, I think, David, you must have been listening to Scott Adams today. You mentioned that you were, and Scott brought that up. Yeah, Scott he would find stories that weren't on my radar. And it would give me a little bit of a framework on maybe how to think about some of these stories. And I found that to be helpful. I'm not an instant expert on every single story, and there's a lot that's going to miss my desk. So you got to find shows that give you that type of information. But yeah, if the Colombian president comes to visit with all that booger sugar, ooh, boy. I mean, would you trust that you're not just going to get handcuffed and taken? I don't know. All right. This is Real America's Voice. Who is this here? Well, it's on the bowling show, and this guy is Robbie Starbuck. There you go. Democrats are desperate for George Floyd because they're failing in every area. Take a listen to Robbie Starbuck.
Here's the cold, hard truth. The Democrats are desperate for a George Floyd. Why? Because they're flailing in every other area. Americans don't trust them on any issue, especially the major political issues of the day. These people still have not learned the lessons from the last election. They still believe in transitioning, giving sex changes to kids. I mean, their party is beyond absurdity. So what are they grasping for? They need this George Floyd energy back. So they're
some sort of spark to ignite a national outrage.
They're going to search for a situation like this where they can hope to ignite social unrest to a degree that they believe they will have some sort of political advantage. That's the truth here. And it doesn't matter. This lady's life doesn't matter to them. It's not about her. They don't care about this lady.
Collateral damage to the deep state Democrats. They don't care. They want you risking your life doing stupid stuff. It's the equivalent to the bully on the playground, kind of going up to the dorky kid and like dapping him up and like kind of building up his confidence. Well, that guy never pays any attention to me. He's one of the cool kids. And they trick you into doing something so that they can laugh at you. Or if something bad happens, they literally don't even care. They don't even know your name. Like they call you the wrong name. They don't even care. It's just something they get to watch happen, and maybe they could exploit it for more recess or whatever the case may be. That's what the modern Democrat Party's about. I think this was a single mother of 3. Let me see if I can get some analytics on that to be sure. But, convincing people they need to get in the middle of a law enforcement action to remove people that snuck into the country illegally. And the memo went out to call everybody a legal observer. A legal observer. Why do you keep saying that? They've been instructed to say that phrase as if there's such a thing. You can be around and you can film. You can't block the streets. You can't block the vehicles. You can't run your vehicle at somebody.
They care about their pocketbooks. They care about their power. And ultimately, if they can use this woman to get more power or more money in their pockets, they're going to use her. And I think in this case, it's not going to work because it's so clear with the video that this was a totally lawful situation. It's what we train officers to do. But they're going to continue looking for this. They're going to continue whipping up left-wing protesters and agitators into these situations until they can find that George Floyd-like scenario. And who knows if they'll find it. But if they do, you better bet they're going to try to do everything they can to exploit it. Yeah, here's the...
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at Representative Nancy Mace, because while all this is happening, boy, oh boy, do they need a distraction in Minneapolis in the worst possible way. Representative Nancy Mace says, breaking, we just moved to subpoena Representative Ilhan Omar and her brother husband's immigration records in the Oversight Committee. Federal marriage fraud and knowingly entering a marriage to evade immigration laws is a serious felony punishable by prison time, steep fines, denaturalization, and deportation. Marrying a sibling is illegal in every state. We intend to get to the bottom of it. End the fraud, denaturalize, and deport Ilhan Omar. I mean, great, but what are we waiting for? Okay. Yeah, this one is from Caddyshack. Well, we're waiting. Yeah, stop complaining about it and just file the indictments. Figure out the rest later. Doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be done. Here's a reminder of how El Salvador President Nayib Bukele handled corruption.
Como pueden ver ustedes todos.
He gathered everyone in the let me switch this side by side. He gathered everyone in the executive branch for a meeting and told them that they are all currently under investigation for corruption.
Son parte del
That's how you need to do it. Gather them all up. Can America do this today? Please. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, more analysis on the shooting. What can we learn from the clips? Are we even seeing the same things?
Right to the chase and understand that we need to be very, very honest about this entire situation that happened in Minnesota with this shooting that involved an ICE officer. First, I want to say that it is an absolutely unfortunate situation that didn't need to happen.
It shouldn't have happened. It didn't need to happen. And contrary to the Democrat constant narrative that this is happening because of Trump, this is happening because of ICE. No, it's happening because of criminality. Because the Democrats flooded America with 40 million illegal alien invaders. The Democrats did this. They don't get to blame the guy who's cleaning up aisle 3 for what they knocked over.
And second of all, I'll admit that when you first see
it, and it didn't need to happen because you should not be in the street in interfering with investigations with ICE. You should not be doing that. And if you don't do that, this would not have happened. 100% accurate statement. Had you not interfered with this and then gunned your vehicle and hit an officer, this would not have happened.
See the video clips, it's very easy to watch the slowed down clips from the comfort of your own home and think, well, maybe she was trying to get away from them and maybe she wasn't trying to plow directly over him.
And that has been said. Yep, accurate. Also, doesn't matter. Sure, it matters, but it doesn't matter because you put yourself in a really stupid position, and while getting arrested, instead of opening the door and going out, you gunned it in the general direction that hit an officer that we all watched happen. It's unfortunate because you shouldn't have done this.
Even though in the video you can see her driving forward, which is towards this officer.
And you see everything's icy. They're standing on ice. Both of the officers slip and the car tires spin.
And then you think, well, maybe he didn't need to shoot 3 times. But when you are in the heat of the moment and this officer has split seconds to make a decision, you cannot even begin to understand what the right move is in this situation.
And that's what I said in my text thread with my friend. I'm not going to second guess this guy. Well, the first shot, maybe it could be argued, but there were 2 more. And for that, they should probably be thrown in prison. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? I mean, someone I respect a lot of the time. And I'm like, are you even watching the same videos I'm watching? What are you talking about? What are you seeing? Well, the first shot, maybe, but those other 2, he should go to prison for that. Probably. We'll see. I haven't made up my mind, but unless something really weird was happening, if there was some other immediate threat, they shouldn't have done that. And he deserves to go to jail. And he disagree, 100% disagree, agree to disagree. And it's not even agree to disagree. I followed up with 100 questions. Like, what are you talking about? It wasn't like pop, pop, pop. That would be a different conversation had it happened that way, which even in that case, we'd have that conversation if we got there. It was pop, pop, pop. Because it all happened in the same second that he was struck by a lethal weapon. Nobody had footing on that icy road. That person could have been ran over, and you know that. Everybody knows that. That was an attack on his life. He had every right to defend himself, so it seems.
So the uncomfortable truth is that if she would have gotten out of her vehicle when this officer told her to, she would be alive today.
Yep, that's true. Now, the question would be, were the people well enough trained? Were they giving proper instructions? Get out of here or get out of the car. Get out of here is okay, put the car in drive and get the heck out of here. The sooner the better. And you drive off in the general direction and you're trying to, but you're on ice and it spins and I didn't want to hit him. We don't know because that person's not here to give their side of the story. We can watch what was happening while they were being detained, arrested for impeding with the investigation. They took off and hit the guy with her bumper. But there could have been mixed signals being given on the ground at the window. Could have. Yeah, she should have stayed home. That perfect solution to this. Don't do that. That's not to say you can't protest. Yeah, you can protest. You can't block traffic. We've been screaming this for years. And I think it's partially the lack of crackdown on the people doing this to send a clear message that if you do this type of crap, the book is going to get thrown at you. But a lot of blue cities, they need this chaos so they don't prosecute these people. And they keep getting the impression that it's okay to do it, which it's not.
But unfortunately, she is not. And she found herself in this position because she felt like she needed to be a hero and obstruct their operations because of the hysteria that the left has drummed up about ICE. And so I'm going to show you a couple different clips, but what we see here is this officer telling her to get out of the vehicle. She refuses to do so. She puts her car in reverse and goes back, which immediately heightens the tension in the situation. Then she drives towards this officer who does end up shooting 3 times. And again, we can say whether the second and third shot were justified, but in the moment when this officer has to consider all types of different scenarios, what other pedestrians might be surrounding the area, who else she might harm, and most importantly, if she was going to assault him with her vehicle, which is a deadly weapon. So this clip here has a really good view.
Yeah, and this was the one that sort of, I text my friend, I said, this one showed me everything I need to see. And this person pretended that, or simply didn't understand what that means. This just completely debunks the narrative that the cop wasn't hit. We see him get hit perfectly here. It takes away that narrative 100%. Lake Leon says, FAFO, enough is enough. President Trump told them months and months ago to not block or get in the way of ICE agents. Exactly. And any illegal alien invader has been told multiple times. It doesn't matter what the Democrats lied to you about. Hey, claim asylum and we'll give you unlimited free money. Just vote Democrat eventually when we eventually get you naturalized, because dreamers or something. Regardless of what sweet nothings Democrats whispered in your ear, you're here illegally. The CBP One app has now been converted to CBP Home. You'll get a flight home paid for by the U.S. government. Go home. You've been told to exit the club. You don't have your wristband. You know you didn't pay cover at the front door. You know you've been drinking for free all night. We're not going to take you out back and break your legs, but you got to get the hell out of our club. You're bleeding us dry. You're drinking our inventory. You're causing problems. You're selling drugs. You're harming our residents. Get out of the club. Got every right to act as a bouncer to defend your nightclub. The law offices of... Hello, this is Brian. Thank you for calling the law firm of FAFO. Exactly. But yeah, from this angle, take a look. I mean, you clearly see the guy get hit.
View of seeing her accelerate into the officer, as you'll see her jetting out right here, actually hitting him, and that's when the shooting begins.
And in the comments, he goes, crap, I had my clip with the text right over the part I was trying to show you.
And then this is the closest version of it. Again, this video is incredibly slowed down, but she's backing up. He's telling her to get
and there the wheels are spinning
out of her car. She doesn't, drives forward.
And when it goes forward, that's when the gun comes out.
And that's when the officer right here shoots his first round. You see the glass flying, and then a couple more seemingly right into the window. So again, when you're watching the videos in slow motion, it's so easy to say that she was just trying to drive away and that she wasn't trying to hit him and her intention wasn't to plow him over. But in that moment, when he sees the car start to accelerate towards him and seemingly hit him from the other video, you can't begin to know what's going on in his brain. And in that moment, it is his job to protect himself and everyone around. So this situation is going to get a lot worse before it gets better, and we are already starting to see riots. Let's cut right to the chase and understand.
We posted that the Democrat cartel is instigating this. When will the DNC be charged in a RICO conspiracy case? They are out there constantly putting this stuff up, constantly pushing for violence. They need it. All right, Miss Muckraker. Oh, this is just one post today. She says, bloody hell. There are 193 recognized countries in the world, and 177 of them receive U.S. taxpayer money? 177 out of 193? 0 countries provide ongoing bilateral foreign aid or taxpayer-funded financial assistance to the United States in the way that the U.S. does provide that to 177 nations. That's 91.7% of the world. The white men who founded this country and drove its economic growth literally fund the whole world. Yet white people are told we are trash, horrible, racist, and not needed. It's absolutely insane, says muckraking media. 92% of the world is funded by this. 92% of the world is funded by us, and we get nothing from anyone else. More Candace.
For clarity, I want to show you guys this as well exclusively, a still image of the much longer video I have that was shown to me of Charlie from behind. Okay, this is the video, and you can see what we have there. That's Charlie's necklace that's hanging. There's no blood on Charlie. There was absolutely no blood on Charlie. Not only did the bullet not go through, it didn't even cause any sort of destruction. And I follow that video until he goes down. There's nothing that we would expect to see from a 30-06. And again, I have a close-up of this. That's his chain. There's no question that what you are seeing there is his chain. And the only blood that I saw was blood in his hand, which was spurting forward, to be clear. And for clarity, I want to show you guys this as well.
So what do you make of that? You think it was staged? Do you think it was not real? You think Charlie's kicking it somewhere? Was it faked? Is that what she's sort of insinuating? That we didn't see what we thought we saw? A 30-06, that's meant for taking down like Rhino. And there's no, I mean, oh, by the way, the banks and financial institutions worst hit in the 07-08 collapse, 09 collapse. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, AIG, Citigroup, Bank of America, Washington Mutual, Wachovia, Merrill Lynch, Fannie Mae, Genworth, and XL Group. So yeah, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, AIG, Citigroup, Bank of America, WAMU. Those are some of the big ones. So I don't know, type in the comments. What do you think about the Charlie Kirk scenario? But she's back. And a lot of people are big mad at her. Let's keep it going. Walter Kurt says, we finally found the Somali Education Resource Center. Well, let's just play this.
All right, guys. So we are here. We found it, finally, all day long. The Somali Education Resource Center. Suite 301 here at 299 East Granville Road in Dublin, Ohio. Now, the deal is that $14 million into this center here. This is a single office. And by the way, there's nothing inside it. We've already looked. It is very, very, very much dark, and it looks like there's maybe a couch inside. So not anything here. Very nice security system, which I found very strange. So I assume that they would probably have now taken our video and everything of us standing out here. But there is nothing here. And again, where's the money? That's the real question. Where is the money? Because the organization is supposedly $42 million over the past few years in taxpayer funding, and we have no access, and we have no idea where it is. So we're just trying to ask some questions here, and we have yet to find anything at all. So we're going to keep looking, guys, but this is what we found so far.
Walter Kurt, keep looking, guys. Look everywhere. This isn't just Minneapolis, and it's not just...
entering a full...
Yeah, it's not just Minneapolis, and it's not Columbus. What is this now? Talking about the shift of the world order changing. And you see Greenland up there. Yeah, I mean, you sort of see why it's necessary for the hemisphere to have this on lockdown, is what President Trump is saying.
Bring a full new world order with what...
This person's called Bridger Pennington. Not familiar with him. I'll give him a follow, though. Why not?
What just happened in Venezuela and what might be happening in Cuba, Alberta, Greenland, and a bunch of other neighboring countries. Part about this press conference here with Trump was they didn't hide what they were trying to do. Yes, Maduro was a bad guy. He's a drug cartel guy, trafficker, but also we wanted these massive oil reserves off of Venezuela. They were pretty clear as day, like, hey, you guys aren't drilling this very effectively. We're going to have all of our American companies come and drill this. We're going to be very prosperous. We're going to make a lot of money. Venezuela's going to make a lot of money. It's going to be great for everybody. Oh, and by the way, we're going to run their country for them. So Venezuela is essentially going to be a colony or a territory of the United States for the next little bit. Also in the press conference, they hinted at doing a similar thing in Cuba, a similar thing in Colombia, and also a similar thing in Greenland. Previous wars in Iraq, we hit everything. Like this one was just wide open. And by the way, this goes right into the Trump plan of making the United States economy extremely well over the next little bit. Now, on notice is Colombia, Cuba, Greenland, who has huge amounts of natural resources. We've already talked about that a few times.
No, this is not the same video. It's a second part to it, right?
And also Alberta, Canada, huge amounts of natural resources. Now, two scenarios here. Either we're just one and done. We got Venezuela, we got the oil, we got everything we needed. We can now negotiate heavily against Russia, who depends on oil drastically for their economy. Say, hey, we have large oil reserves. We don't even need you anymore. If you want to continue this war and continue fighting, great. We're going to just pump the whole world with oil, cheap oil from Venezuela, and your whole economy is going to die. So that could be just one and done. Or secondly, we say, you know what? This worked so well. We're going to go do it in Cuba, in Greenland, in Alberta. And maybe there's different tactics, not, kidnapping the president of the country, but
are you talking about Cuba?
Different tactics to gain these territories and expand the American empire. Now, I don't know if this is good or bad for us. It is just what is happening. And I see one of two scenarios here. This is quite interesting. But a huge amount of oil reserves could pay down national debt, help GDP grow like crazy. Cheap oil and gas is massive as a strategic thing for this. Now, again, I don't know if it's right or wrong to do everything they did in Venezuela. I'm just telling you the facts, what's happening. And now the shift in the global order. The last thing I'll mention is Maduro was protected by Chinese military equipment. This is unconfirmed, but what I've heard is Chinese military equipment and Russian bodyguards. And we were able to blow past both of those things in a matter of hours and steal the president of the country. Quite a precedent that was set last night on the global stage. So follow along to stay in the loop. Hopefully we get some more details on this, but the American empire is expanding. We're entering a full new...
Geopolitically, there's a lot going on. I know America first people don't want to talk about it. Don't want to think about it. They want America first and they want America only. And I get that. That's very appealing. I understand, but there's a lot more to it. It's either run over or defend your life. It's squeeze the trigger or be run over. You got, split second decisions. You got real important ramifications, real important life-changing decisions to make. And it all matters. We interviewed Joel Pollack. He's actually in the intro to our show for the New American Media. We interviewed him several times on the circuits, but Kelly MAGA Barbie reposts this, where he's out there talking about the rebuilding of California under the Gavin Newsom regime of corruption and theft and money laundering and graft. If you think Minneapolis is bad, wait till you learn about California. I promise you. Here's Joel Pollack.
Smoking gun evidence wasn't found by me. It was uncovered during the course of private lawsuits against public authorities who failed in their duty to protect Pacific Palisades. And they have released drone footage that shows smoke rising from an earlier fire that took place on January 1st, 2025, called the Lockman Fire, which the fire department failed to extinguish fully as it smoldered in the roots of plants. And we believe, and many others believe, that part of the reason that fire was never fully extinguished was that the state of California had a policy on parkland of not allowing heavy fire suppression equipment into areas that were considered sensitive, either because they had rare plants or because they possibly had cultural resources. And if you read the document,
rare plants or cultural resources, they had a policy to prohibit firefighters putting out fires in state parks. Are you out of your mind? That cannot be true. It's being reported as true.
These policies, which were crafted in late 2024, said that you could not suppress fire in the state park, which is right up against Pacific Palisades, unless you had an archaeologist present to tell you where you could and could not put out the fire. So as a result of these policies, you had this massive inferno that spread in high winds and that destroyed the plants and likely many of the cultural sites anyway. This policy helped guide firefighters because it had previously been used even against public departments that tried to suppress fire or to cut fire breaks. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who you showed there earlier lying to one of my neighbors, he says that the state of California is not responsible, that this was a local decision by firefighters. He says he sent 110 fire engines to Southern California in advance of the extreme winds, but he did not send fire engines to that spot where there had been a fire on January 1st, 6 days before the wind event, where there was smoldering fire, where some residents had reported smoke, and where the state knew there was a huge risk of reignition. Smoking gun evidence wasn't found.
The incompetence is just staggering. Matt Walsh reminds us that America is not a nation built by immigrants. America was built by settlers. There's a difference. Settlers ventured out into the wilderness to build a civilization from scratch. The modern immigrant comes to a place that is already built. Settlers planted the trees. The modern immigrant comes to eat the fruits. If you cannot see the difference, I don't know how else to explain it. Do you agree or disagree with Matt Walsh? I mean, that's kind of a fair point. Here's Scott Jennings discussing the Minneapolis mess.
All the political actors seem to be weighing in. The president has weighed in. The governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis have weighed in and effectively called this guy a murderer. They don't know that. I mean, there's obviously two points of view, and I assume there's going to be more facts that we're all going to learn in the days and weeks ahead. But it's pretty apparent this guy was standing in front of a vehicle and somebody accelerated it at him. How this shakes out in the legal system, I don't know. I do know this: the president's been a strong proponent of standing up for these ICE agents and other federal law enforcement who have been, in fact, under assault from protesters since he took office, and instructed them to simply enforce federal immigration law. And we have seen, in my opinion, a lot of irresponsible rhetoric over the year from Democratic officials like Tim Walz, who have called them Gestapo and murderers and everything else. And so there are consequences to that kind of language, and I think we're seeing that play out today. Well, all the political actors.
Solid point. They got to stop doing what they're doing. What's this one say? The same law that kept a federal agent out of jail for killing a woman on J6 for crawling through a window is the same law you'll cry about now that it protects a cop shooting through a window. I don't know. What do you think of that one? Kofefi Anon says, oh, wait, I don't know which one I wanted to share with you. This is
To Minnesotans, I say that.
Let's listen to Tim Walz.
Yes, I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this, please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the state. To Minnesotans, I say this, I feel emergency management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government.
Says the guy who's been referred for Department of Justice investigation. Says the guy who's been money laundering and selling his country out. Changing the damn flag after it's been overthrown by Somali pirates. Oh, you don't need any more help? Oh, I think Minnesota needs a lot of help to extricate y'all.
To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesota.
Oh, they're just getting started, Tim. Protest peacefully like you always do, they remind you. Protest peacefully like you always do, Minnesota. Hank shares this slow down, and this is from the scene. Another woman in this scene screams, "Why are you using real bullets? This isn't a simulation." I know I talk about maybe this is a simulation in life, but this is not. This is real life. And these women, just the ones blocking an ICE raid and gunning their vehicle at an ICE agent and screaming, "Why are you using real bullets?" Please sit down and let the adults handle things. You don't know what you're doing. You're putting yourself in completely unnecessary, maximum danger. And that's not good for anyone. Sit this one out. Why are you using real bullets? You heard it right there, but now there's some other hilarious commentary in this video.
You know how black people is, phone she thick as hell.
Guys, she thick as hell. He zooms in on the booty of this. Maybe it's a girl. Maybe if it's a dude, maybe this guy would be embarrassed. He's saying this is a girl, and he says, looking thick as hell.
What you talking about? It's cold in a motherfucker. I'm shaking that shit for it. You know how black people is, phone she thick as hell. What you talking about? It's cold in a motherfucker. I'm shaking that shit for it.
Keep it moving. A modern masterpiece here. This is why you don't reach for the guns of, I don't know if this is ICE or DHS, or this is why you don't reach for the guns. That says police. Enjoy the soothing sounds of Enya. Well, yeah, I want out music so we can watch it in slow-mo.
There it is.
Charlie Kirk watching ICE invade Minneapolis. Yeah, this Mayor Frey is just out his mind.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
The nerve of this guy to call for the violence and the problems and the protests and the disruption, along with the rest of the Democrat Party, the lying legacy media, and then to say it's ICE causing the problem. ICE didn't block the road, get in that vehicle, and accelerate toward an officer, causing their own erasure. Your follower did that because they're listening to the crap that's coming out of your Democrat Party. Nick Sorter, video showing the moment a woman tried to run over ICE agents in her vehicle. I mean, a lot of this will be the same. Homeland Security sent this out, and it was a message from President Trump saying, I've just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, and who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it's hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They're just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. Now, yeah, I mean, when she gunned it, he was right in front. Probably, luckily, it was on ICE, buying split seconds when it was needed because he got hit in the hip. I guess he was hospitalized. I mean, if there were traction in those tires and on that road, he probably would have been a stain on the pavement, and the left would be applauding right now. Don't forget that, the way they did with Charlie Kirk. That's objective, or that's subjective, or we don't know. You could imagine it, right? You could imagine it. David says one person is going to oversee these investigations controlled directly from the White House. J.D. Vance said this person will be announced in the next few days. Matt Gaetz. How about Matt Gaetz? Like Leon says, we are angry and we want our stolen money back. We want our stolen country back. This has been a nightmarish couple of decades. Come on, Nimbus. Come on. I'll give you the elevator. Elevator. Oh, here you go. Oh, easy. Nice. Elevator treatment. All right. Yeah, we do want our money back. What are they saying here? Third cop is the shooter. She turned her wheels right at him and accelerated. Justified. Governor Tim Walz says, don't believe this propaganda machine. The state will ensure there's a full, fair, expeditious investigation. Blah, blah, blah. Cernovich says, try it and you'd be charged for federal civil rights violations. The ICE agent acted lawfully. You and your Winnie Mandela ass wife won't be able to enjoy the smell of riots and burning tires this time. Yeah, and both of those people and the car were on ICE, by the way. Elon just correcting Paul Graham. He says, ICE just shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis, a U.S. citizen. How long before we say enough is enough? Elon's like, yeah, she tried to run people over. What's this? Kofefi Anand says, there was an like Kofi Annan. There was an earlier video of a woman in the PNW of a woman doing something similar with ICE, then weeping when she was caught, and ICE let her go. There have been similar videos of the resistance doing things like this with vehicles for months and always getting handled with kid gloves. This isn't the first such incident. This type of thing has been going on for months. Lefties coordinate and reverse engineer the rules of engagement to attempt to provoke something that they can make videos about so they can justify a reaction. Kick the dog until it bites, then shoot it. But they're also emotional and believe themselves in the right. And so in the heat of the moment, a particularly emotional leftist, a woman, a criminal, will respond with emotional violence. You saw this with Kyle Rittenhouse. Multiple people attempted to K him even after the first one who attacked him was shot and K'd by Kyle. Their only reaction to being defied is escalation. This woman was told that ICE is the woman who drove her vehicle into the officer was told that ICE is the Gestapo. Trump is a fascist, etc., etc. Her mind is bathed in some of the stupidest propaganda of all time about how her righteous anger makes her strong. How about women's constant restraint in the face of provocation proves when she has a strong emotional reaction, she should always act on it. She's been rewarded since childhood for escalating. So what does she do in a key moment? Escalates and get herself K'd. Here's the thing, though. Everyone who was involved in getting her K'd, all of her friends, all the people that helped create that psychologically comforting rage that she could feel rather than thinking at all about her own life, they're all thrilled about her getting K'd. The woman filming this doesn't care. She just wants to shriek about how she was M'd when she witnessed what was very much not a murder. Why? Because it's a bloody shirt to wave, so when the left tries to release an orgy of violence like they did in 2020, normies aren't willing to look too closely. It's a permission structure for normies to keep their heads down and not notice how deranged and dangerous the left is. Oh, they were provoked. Drip feed the emotional triggers into the culture and wait for the inevitable to happen. Not following this account either. Hi, Nimbus. Thanks for joining. Hello, buddy. Keep it moving. Natalie says, well, here, let's just put it up on. She is ordered out of her car. She refuses. She backs up. She drives forward into an ICE agent. ICE agent pulls out his gun only when she starts moving forward into his body. Self-defense, case closed. It's not this guy that does it. It's the one behind. He's trying to... She is gunning it. And she hits him. And it fires. I don't see what 72-hour rule. We can find more information, body camera footage, more angles. Maybe we'll hear different things. I'd like to hear everything that this lady was up to this whole day. There's a lot more we can gather, but we have to take the time to figure out what's going on. And the Democrat pushback against ICE is it was guaranteed to have this result. And don't forget, it's these same Democrats that are forcing this result are the same ones that framed President Trump for treason. Here's Dave Smith.
There's a broader thing that's involved here, right? The point is that
because it's so much bigger than just any one incident. It's all connected into the grand conspiracy. And my God, we got to start with the indictments already. Go get them all.
The Drain the Swamp, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, their whole brand, the whole thing was that, look, there are these criminals in DC and look at all the things that they've done. And they would all talk. It wasn't just Epstein. They would all talk about Russiagate, the 2020 election. I mean, look, what these guys are claiming, and I don't know about the 2020 election, but they're 100% right on Russiagate and Epstein when they were talking about it before they sold out, is that they go, look, the intelligence agencies framed a presidential candidate, and then the sitting president, they framed him of treason in order to unseat a democratically elected president of the United States of America. That is the biggest scandal in the history of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Like these are huge crimes, sedition, treason, very serious crimes.
And nobody's paying him.
They locked down the whole country based on pseudoscience. They covered up a senile president. They covered up a pedophile ring. They and now you guys are in charge of the Justice Department. How many indictments?
Yeah.
Zero. And then you're going to sit there and Kash Patel is going to tweet out a picture of like some dude throwing a sandwich at a cop and go, we got him. Because this is Kash Patel's America, boys. People don't get away with crimes here.
Yeah.
Like that's, oh, wow, great job. Wow, Kash Patel, we're all so impressed that you brought down Chauncey Billups.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's great, you know? Like, that's great, but like, that's not exactly what we were voting for. There's a...
It's not exactly what we were voting for. It's the grand conspiracy.
And then
This is the angle. This is zoomed in. You see it move really fast. Look how fast it happens. That's the officer getting hit by the vehicle. Whether this person was trying to get around that vehicle and trying to get out of there. Looks like the wheel might have been turned when that was happening. Maybe, maybe not. They was not in no danger, says Todd Real Life. Yeah, that's hitting somebody with the car. You can see it, right? We're all watching it. If you don't do that, your chances of not getting shot increase drastically. So you should not drive your vehicle into others. Bongino's coming back. How do you feel about that?
If it's going to be, endless complaining, then do.
Yeah, there's too much music. He says, I missed you more than you know. To the Black Pill crowd, I promise you are not obligated to watch my show. Yeah, and we said, what the heck happened this past year? 0 high-level indictments. Come on. Unless we're going to have a big reveal for our 250th birthday party. What the heck? Indictments? Talk about indictments. You kidding me? Indictments? I just hope we win a game. I love that you're quoting the Strictly Football show. By the way, make sure you check it out. Strictly Football, myself, Mike Barrett, Jim Mitchell, Ezrael Robinson. Strictly Football is online, the archived episodes, the Unhappy Hour sports show on the New American Media. Check those out. Indictments? Anyway, he's got music here, so I can't play it, but that's what's going on. He's coming back. Vice President J.D. Vance laughing at Tim Walz.
Take someone's money. He should be worried for many reasons. He called you weird. Remember that? I know.
Tim Walz called him weird.
Because I don't like Somali fraudsters. I guess that makes me weird. Guilty as charged. Gavin Newsom, and take someone's money. He should be worried for many reasons. He called you weird. Remember that? I know. Because I don't like Somali fraudsters. I guess that makes me weird. Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged. Well, Stephen A., what's his take going to be?
The video on numerous occasions. And seeing what transpired from a lawful perspective, as it pertains to a law enforcement official, don't expect him to be prosecuted. He was completely justified.
He should have stopped talking here.
Humanitarian perspective, however.
Oh, this is where it gets so wonky.
Why did you have to do that? If you could move out the way, that means you could have shot the tires.
Shoot the tires.
That means you could have got her a few feet away after you shot the tires. And if you were unsuccessful in doing that, you could have got her down the road. You didn't have to do that. She wasn't driving down the road coming at you 90 miles an hour. She was parked in the middle of the street.
Yeah, why was she parked in the middle of the street and obstructing the investigation?
And rather than get out the car
and get arrested, as she was being arrested, detained, what do you call it?
She wrongfully tried to drive off.
That was wrongfully. This didn't need to happen.
And wrongfully disregarded law enforcement official, which is exactly what ICE is. And as a result,
wait, are you sure, Stephen? Don't you work at ABC, ESPN, Disney? Don't you have to say they're insurrectionists and they're Gestapo and they're Nazis?
oh, lost her life because of it.
No, she gave her life.
I saw the video.
Shoot the tires. So yeah, that's Candace tearing apart the FBI story on Charlie Kirk, revealing never before seen photo of him from behind the moment he was shot. Image shows no blood and no exit wound.
For clarity, I want to show you guys this as well exclusively, a still image of the much longer video I have that was shown to me of Charlie from behind. Okay, this is the video, and you can see.
Commenters are saying, can we all stop saying bullet now? We all know it was his lapel. And we all know who did it. It's like, do we? He's still alive, is he? It's all a magic trick. Coroner said it went into the body. It didn't go out. It went down. Maybe it was the instant before it exited. I don't know. Even when you watch stuff,
what we have there, that's Charlie's necklace that's hanging. There's no blood.
All right, we played that clip before. You get the point. Massive controversy at a Texas school involving a stabbing in 2022, Boswell High School. It's a 4-minute clip shared by libs of TikTok, but a student was stabbed and the school didn't really do anything to the aggressor. Not the day for us to go into it. Why would Bongino go into the FBI in the first place? I don't know. I won't play this, but his thought is that it was involved with the Maduro situation. To execute this operation. Keep it moving. Hundreds of anti-ICE protesters were blocking roads and terrorizing innocent drivers in Minneapolis. Minneapolis police are totally MIA. Nick Sorter calling for the National Guard. Nobody's illegal on stolen land. These are commies trying to take over the country, folks. Mock them, ignore them at your own peril. They're not even hiding what they're up to. America's not a country. It's stolen. Oh, how benevolent of them to try to steal it now. They want to steal it back, or do they? Sounds like domestic terrorists, doesn't it? Lake Leon saying if that woman in the car cared more for her family and kids, she could have stayed home, homie. I wish she did. All right, so the commies are up. Democrats, according to the Babylon Bee, Democrats gather. Let me try it again. Democrats solemnly remember the only riot they didn't like, January 6th. Democrats solemnly remember the only riot they didn't like. All right, so let's tell you about this one. Breaking news. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here says, on January 20th, the Trump White House will advise all U.S. water systems to remove fluoride from public water. Fluoride is an industrial waste associated with arthritis, bone fractures, bone cancer, IQ loss, neurodevelopment disorders, and thyroid disease. President Trump and First Lady Melania want to make America healthy again. Good. Seems like a good idea, don't it?
We not gonna, what? We gonna tear this motherfucker up. That's what the fuck has to happen. Does anybody know why we're given the Second Amendment right? Google it. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. That's true. The police are supposed to be on our side, fighting, pointing their guns at the fucking government. It's the facts.
He wants police aiming guns at the government, and that's facts. What? Wow.
It's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. It don't get no.
Yeah. What part of trying to run an ICE agent over in an attempted murder makes them tyrannical? What and who chose to do that? This doesn't add up. It doesn't connect for me.
No worse than this. It don't.
Yep.
We not.
It don't get no worse than this. They're adding a quote that I didn't hear him say, but he said, "I'm usually at my house smoking weed and enjoying my money." We have our second member.
What? We gonna tear this.
I didn't see him say that. Anyway, Scott Jennings.
I agree with you, Jonathan. I think there's some details we don't know yet, and we'll have to learn more about it.
It's a longer clip, but I did already play it, so we'll move along. Mike Benz giving us an update on what's going on.
Cocaine networks in Venezuela were set up by the CIA, not by Maduro. The fact is you can simply watch the 1993 60 Minutes episode where Mike Wallace broke that the CIA had set up an anti-cocaine warehouse in
Venezuela, then struck a secret agreement with the Venezuelan National Guard, trafficked 1,500 tons of cocaine into Miami against the protestations of the DEA. It was all sold on the streets of Miami to support CIA black operations, paramilitary groups. The opposition, backed by the U.S. inside of Venezuela in 2019, is deeply affiliated with the CIA cocaine networks. There are probably international crimes that Maduro committed, but the idea of charging him with running a cocaine conspiracy, which Venezuela inherited from the Central Intelligence Agency itself, has made this case very tenuous. I'm concerned that this case could get dismissed because there's going to be so much last-minute craziness going on inside the DOJ, as the CIA is going to be constantly leaning on the DOJ to try to limit discovery. So buckle up. Mike Benz is giving us some analysis on that. Nick Shirley's suddenly everywhere. Same with Nick Fuentes. What are these two Nicks about? I think he makes a good point about Nick Fuentes, by the way.
Because he's extremely entertaining to watch. He's actually like a comedian when he talks. He's pretty funny. And you can't say he's not. If he wasn't, millions of people wouldn't be watching him. Now, do you agree with everything he says? No. Do you agree with everything Dave Chappelle says? No.
That's perfectly said. I watched that new Chappelle episode. I know Deb's here. Hello, Deb. Yeah, I took issue with several points, including coming out with a Colin Kaepernick jersey, still running that tired bullshit, still the anti-Trump crap, still really, Dave. You know, made a couple of jokes about how clean DC got. Oh, I was here ready to be so angry, but it was looking real clean. No, you don't agree with everything Chappelle says. You don't agree with everything Nick Fuentes says. Nick Shirley's just saying he's entertaining. And why are people watching? Well, there's reasons. And we better know about it. We better figure it out. This upcoming election, they've already said it's going to be about affordability. Everything's about affordability. It's got to get easier to make enough money to have a successful month. Earning more than you're spending. Oh, God, I did not enjoy saying that out loud. Because I've invested my entire personal financial apparatus into this at the New American Media, especially in the last 3 years. But yeah, you need to have a return on investment. You have to be earning more than you're spending. And that hasn't happened for me in a very long time. You know, that was probably working a full-time job and doing this on the side type thing. So in the past couple of years, I've gone all in. And if you love the show, please share it with some friends, because we've got a double. We've got a double again. We got a 10x. But it's all going to be about affordability in 2026. How the hell else does a communist, like a communist Islamic supremacist, get elected New York City? The 9/11 Twin Towers city. How do they put that out there talking about affordability, pushing the commie crap? always whispering sweet nothings into the ears of the downtrodden. And I think that's what Nick Shirley's talking about. The young kids listen to him. They're listening to him for a reason.
Is there some truth that Nick Fuentes is saying? Yes.
What about you?
I'm saying
You've
that
got
there's
millions and millions of people. I think the question is, what is it about you guys that Gen Z is just going nuts over?
Yeah.
It's this raw, real,
well,
for you, in the weeds. It's just shit that nobody's doing anymore.
Yeah. And growing up, you were very... It's hard to go out and say what you want because you're worried about people coming after you. And so when you have people like Nick Fuentes who are just saying things as he wants to say them, people are going to get attached to that. And for me, if I'm going out and showing people things for what they really are, and I'm not censoring people out of the conversation, people are going to like that because they want that realness, because they want to feel represented. They don't want to feel like they're having one conversation with their friend in the car and then they have to go at the dinner table and have a different conversation.
Do you think, I'm curious to hear, do you think Gen Z is as tribalized as the older generations, or is Gen Z solely interested in just the truth? They're just so tired of all the bullshit from both sides. They're just interested in actual factual information, not opinion pieces, not any of that, just facts and people with the courage to put it out there.
I would say once they graduate high school and they realize how hard real life really is to make real money and to be able to get into a house and to be able to provide for yourself, yes. Like they just want the truth, cut and dry. That's why you see so many of them kind of either feeling very defeated or people are actually rising up to the battle that we're facing. Because a lot of these kids are starting their life behind the starting line. They go to college, the bank will give them a $100,000 loan. They start their life off $100,000 in debt.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people are wondering, well, why actually are we doing that? And that's why, whether it be Nick Fuentes or whether it be Charlie Kirk, we're all kind of trying to share the same message at the end of the day that go chase the American dream because you're capable of doing it. Question yourself. Question the people you listen to. Like Nick, we all serve our own roles in this atmosphere of politics or just commentary. Your role is different than my role. Nick Fuentes' role is different than me and yours. My role is to show people what's happening from the ground. Yeah, Nick Fuentes, he's extremely entertaining to watch. He's actually...
So yeah, Sean Ryan and Nick Shirley are all over the place now, huh? The architect here. What are all these posts? The architect says some insiders say if all secrets were revealed at once, 90% of people would go catatonic and not be able to handle it. At this point, I don't care. Let it happen, and we can hospitalize all the pussies later. I don't think there's anything that could come out now and shock me. What would surprise you at this point? What would surprise you? Would anything shock you? Come on. Hugh Anthony says they're lying about the numbers. There are more foreigners here than they say there are, and we all know it. Barefoot Student says a majority of Gen Z and millennials think it's impossible for some people to ever succeed, regardless of hard work, per Axios. Dissident Soap says it's infuriating to hear about white families being financially crippled by daycare our whole lives, only to learn that non-white families were being financially enriched and encouraged to expand their families by daycares at the same time. Middle Class Party says pizza used to be the fallback meal. Bad day, order a pizza. Tight budget, order a pizza. Now a basic pie costs as much as groceries did. When comfort food becomes a luxury, something is broken. That's true. AF Post says after a left-wing terror attack, much of Berlin was left without power and heat. German officials decided to evacuate refugees and left the elderly and cancer patients of Germany in the cold. Black Red says this isn't even effing funny anymore. Kyle says, once I realized how long it takes to save up $100,000 working a real job, I started taking excessive risk. Crypto Fergani says the risk of losing your entire net worth is nothing compared to the risk of an average life trapped in a 9-to-5 forever. Jay says, gyms are empty. People are fully giving up. Reneke says, so it's everywhere. What's happening? Why is everybody just giving up? Anything else? Ooh, this one was tough. Redfields. The reason most of us stay up late is because we don't want our free time to end and tomorrow to start. The world ranking shares sugar industry pulled the ultimate heist, reportedly exposed for paying Harvard scientists to say heart disease was caused by animal fat and not from refined sugar. Yeah, this was a very depressing thread, but this is tapping into, I think what happened was we shared the first one about Nick Shirley, and from the commenters, we started clicking around some stuff just to feel why Gen Z feels so hopeless. Why Slam says, it's depressing to see our parents getting old while we are still struggling to be stable in life. The guilt feel is strong when we can't afford the things our parents want, or when we are unable to spend time with them since we are so busy with this thing called life. What's this? If I had a time machine, says Redeemed Zoomer, I'd go back to 1913 Europe, show them what Europe looks like today, and tell them whatever differences they have with each other, it's not worth doing World War I over. Barefoot Student, Gen Z is being told to forget college and go work at a hotel bar or pound nails. Meanwhile, there's a bipartisan agreement that the U.S. should staple green cards to foreign student diplomas. America's visa system has been hacked by hostiles. So they were writing the college to office path is dead. CEO to the world's biggest recruiter says Gen Z grads need to consider trade and hospitality jobs that don't even require degrees. Patrick Webb says it took less than a week for everyone to forget that taxes are a scam. This thread here says, modern men have to work 5 times harder than their grandfathers did, for women 20 times worse than what their grandmothers were. It's called hoflation, and it's destroying Western men's desires to be providers and protectors. Well, there's some of that, but then there's also the legal system that's so punitive if you do end up in a relationship, if you do have kids, if you do go through a divorce, you're taken to the cleaners. What's the point? Why even bother? It is absolutely driven a wedge between the traditional family in America. Darren of Plymouth says, we Brits gave up our firearms in 1997. 30 years later, now we're being arrested for social media posts. Jer says, we can't deport illegals because the housing market would crash and boomers' retirement savings would be hurt. This is the vampire reason of old whites betraying their grandchildren. Yeah, there's a lot of harsh reality / resentment going on. Moving along, a Venezuelan refugee in America gives her testimony. It's 2.5 minutes long. You can watch it. But people are genuinely happy that Nicolas Maduro is gone. Here's Charlie Kirk in a group talk that they don't want you to hear, says Hardy Boy.
Play a word association test. What's the first word that comes to mind when you hear Israel? Conflict. Complex. Controversial.
Scary.
Strategic.
And they've got music, so I gotta stop.
So, Mossad, of all the different things that would come to mind, why does their intelligence service come to mind?
Reminds me of the CIA. You know, it has the CIA, you have the...
It's a 4-minute clip. You should watch it. 5-minute clip. Charlie, type in Charlie Kirk Mossad.
I really found
Dan Bongino talking about how there are basically 2 FBIs.
that there were 2 FBIs. There's the guys out there with the door kickers going out there getting bank robbers, working white collar, working violent crimes, working counterterror, working counterespionage. And then there was the politically weaponized group, and they had to go. You're like, okay, well, that's easy. Well, the problem is who's in what group? They don't come out and tell you. No one comes out and advertise. It's like, hey, I was part of this. Cash and I did investigate it.
All right, music going on. You get it. don't really need to advertise Bongino's show. He's very successful and rich. And I'm not impressed with what he did. We don't know if he did more work, but I'm not impressed. Where's the grand conspiracy indictments? Danette agreeing with some of the stuff that was on that, pretty black-pilled Gen Z, anti-family, anti-marriage, anti-child, anti-provider, black-pilled, why even bother, millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, into Gen Alpha. It's fatigue, and it's really just hopelessness is what it feels like. Yeah, she's saying, she knows how that is. Try to take care of family, and your partner leaves you in a lurch. Then you feel stuck, yeah. And then people staying together but not becoming married. There's a lot of that going around. That's for sure. Deb says she can relate to the comments, staying up late to claim your own free time before reporting to the sleep chamber and getting back on the hamster wheel the next morning. Yeah, it's just let me squeeze a little bit more of my time out of this day. What was this one? I forget what take she has.
Found out that Renee Good, the woman who was shot and killed by the ICE officer today, lost her late husband. I don't know if they were divorced at the time yet. In 2023, has 3 children. So they were fatherless up until today and are now motherless and fatherless. So because of a poor decision,
there's a human catastrophe that occurred here. She brought it on herself, and the Democrats coaxed it out of her. But it was a poor decision she made, and it is a tragedy. It's awful. It should not have happened. You should not be getting in the roads and trying to impede these investigations.
that she made, her children are now without both of their parents. So please, why have I not seen anyone talking about why a single mother would go and lead a protest against ICE where there is always going to be conflict and then cause conflict and put herself in that position? Why was she not thinking about her children? Because the brainwashing is so fucking thick that she wasn't. Don't get me wrong, I have attended my fair share of rallies and protests, all of which were peaceful. If anything were to ever go sideways, I would never involve myself in something that is going to leave my kids motherless. I just found out that Renee...
I've been seeing that reported. I believe it to be possibly accurate, probably accurate, and it's just sad. This is a quote that they appear to be putting on Elon, but it's pretty obvious as well. If you take $500 from a worker and you give $100 each to 5 lazy people, you lose 1 vote, but you gain 5. It's the biggest pyramid scheme in history, and it's called socialism. Very well said.
And you can see right here, if the cop wasn't in front of the vehicle, then he wouldn't have been able to make this shot.
The silent majority news. It shows that there is, yes, that shot is right there in the windshield from straight ahead.
There it is. It's pretty fucking obvious. Yep, it's pretty fucking obvious. There it is. And you can see.
I mean, that's one piece of many pieces of evidence that we're sifting through.
Drives forward right here. You see the agent literally pushed back by the boom, right there by the left fender of the vehicle. He shoots 3 times. She ends up losing her life.
So what are we talking about over here? Why am I now seeing George Floyd 2.0 protests and the mayor talking about ICE get the fuck out, and about this is unjust, ICE is trigger happy, we need unrest, we need this, Donald Trump needs to get out? Listen to me very carefully. This is a woman, single mother with a child, who was a leader of this protest. The bottom line is we need to look at really what's going on over here. Accountability, that's still a thing. You put yourself into a reckless situation, a tragedy will unfold. At the end of the day, you hit a federal agent with your vehicle. You hit a federal agent with your vehicle. That's it. Case closed right there. I don't know why we're still talking about it. And the legacy media is held responsible for this. They really should be held responsible. The TDS syndrome, it didn't...
By the way, if you don't know who this woman is, she does a great impression. I'll show you in a second.
Didn't come out by itself. Legacy media sits there and they freaking stir the pot. They put salt on the wound. They put kerosene on the fire to these libtards who are already mentally unstable. That woman should not have lost her life today. And the non-tolerant left, they would have been celebrating this if it was on the MAGA side. They really would have. We all saw and remember what happened when Charlie Kirk got... We all saw it. We saw the celebrations. We saw how many people on social media came up, started acting all glib and happy. They were just, well, he deserved it. Well, this is what happens. Listen, I'm not ever going to sit here and say I'm happy that another fellow human being died. Especially she was a woman. She was a mom. It didn't need to happen. Even if she is libtarded. I don't have to, be evil just because I disagree with someone. But accountability is a big factor here. You fuck around, you find out. You play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes. No contest. You tried to hit him with your car. You had to lose your life, sadly. These men and women out here, these ICE agents, it's kill or be killed for them, okay? You can't fucking get in the front of law enforcement and expect everything to be beautiful. You can't do it. Don't get in their face like that. Comply. You idiots protesting No Kings are the same idiots that are protesting Free Maduro, an actual dictator. Get it together and stop doing this shit. Let them do their job. When Obama deported 3 million people, I don't remember any protests, okay? Not a single one. Not one of you gave a shit. Not one of you cared about kids getting separated. None of that. It's all nonsense. It's all virtue signaling. And this is what happens when you virtue signal. This is what happens.
This is the one that does this. You may have seen her. Maybe this one?
Everybody, just come on in. Come on in. Oh, offended. Offended. You're starting your trolling early. Good. I need the libtards to troll as much as possible. You really, really, really help.
Wait, hold on. I thought she was doing the impersonation. Wait, where's it at? This is the same yeah, this is ooh, hang on. This should be easy to find, shouldn't it? She does. I don't even want to say it. I just want to play it.
I'll be running for president of the United States. And we have states. And they're united. And because think about it.
Watching her, it reminds me. That's kind of what Deb says. Speaking of impressions, Brian, you're practicing your Tucker last night. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. She has the whole impression down, but she definitely has the Kamala cackle down.
States should be united.
Wish there wasn't music behind it.
And all the states now.
Okay, there's too much music behind it. Come on, there's got to be another one. Anyway, this shouldn't be that difficult. There we go.
I've said this for a long time. I feel like we need a divorce.
Here it is.
So I was ready to give up this tracking of Kamala Harris's particular fondness of...
Do the laugh.
She eats Doritos, okay? As I watch the Oscars.
Oh, it's so good. I can't believe the Democrats selected her.
We was Netflix and chilling. And that's perspective. That's community.
She does a good job leading in like a drunk on vodka, slowly slurring the words.
But here's the thing.
Stop the music. I just want to hear the laugh. We need a laugh today.
The other chips.
Okay.
About that. Because we gotta uplift.
Yes, we need to laugh. Do the
Lift and highlight those other brands. You know, Lay's.
Anyway, you get the point. The music isn't stopping. I can't find it easily. Let's move along. Mommy RN88. Reminder, this Somali man in Ohio screaming at this guy, telling you that Islam is coming to America. Oh, is it?
Coming to America. Islam's coming to America? Yes, it's coming. Wait, is this going to be one day America will become a Muslim state.
One day America will become a Muslim state, says this guy. You okay with them overthrowing Minneapolis and New York and Texas? Like, pick your state, all the states, the whole country? Is that what you want? You want to become Iran? What happened 50 years ago when you let religious tyrants, zealots, supremacists take it over? Run it into the ground?
Muslim country. Our goal is to make America Islam.
Our goal is to make America Islam, he says.
Real Islamic state.
Islamic State. Global Mall. Right there in Columbus, Ohio, people. Yeah, Kelly, if Somalia is so good, why are you here? All right, Nick Freitas.
Well, the mayor of Minneapolis has a message for ICE.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Okay, I'll bite. Or else what? No, seriously, Mayor, be specific. What do you plan to do if ICE actually continues to carry out its legal obligations within the city of Minneapolis? You going to call up your police force to do something about it? Because we all know you wouldn't do it personally. No. You would rely upon the police force that people like you regularly denigrate as being sexist, racist, bigoted murderers, right? The sort of institution that you want to defund is now the one you'll probably rely upon to try to push back against ICE. Yeah. Let me go ahead and spell this out for you, big guy. The only thing that leftists really control in this country when it comes down to it is an army of activists that identify themselves by their mental illness. And the rest of us are just tired of indulging you at this point. Yeah, the fatigue has evolved into full-blown exhaustion at this point. So 2026 is the year where when you get upset, we get happy. Because the bottom line is we're sick of your crap. So go ahead and drop the F-bomb behind a podium if it makes you feel tough. But ICE is going to continue to do operations. And you know what you're going to do about it? Nothing. Well, the mayor of Minneapolis has a message for ICE.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Okay, I'll bite.
Okay, I'll bite. Okay, I'll bite. Are you saying we all look alike? We all look the same? Oh, I know what you meant. I know what you all look the same. You all. And what do you mean by you all, huh? You all? That's Nick Freitas, who is... Well, it doesn't give a bio. Husband, father, Green Beret, combat veteran, defender of liberty. He's in Congress, right?
Well, the mayor of Minneapolis has...
Or something. Anyway, keep it moving. This Lauren the Mortician shares that the Jeffrey Epstein photo that she saw, it doesn't show any of the signs or symptoms. It's 2 minutes. I was going to play it, but we've already had a full show today. And there's only so much we can beat this horse on this Minneapolis story. I do need to bounce to X because there's some Minnesota Somali fraud stuff I wanted to get to. But she's just saying the Epstein photo. Well, doggone it. Let's just play it.
Show you from a mortuary science.
Oh, there is music here too.
Standpoint. Why this photo does not show a deceased body.
So she goes on to say that when you pass gravity, your all your muscle tone stop, like the jaw will open, like gravity will do that, and just the blood rushing from the face, it doesn't show that that's happened in certain things. So that's the point of this video with music that I can't share with you anyway. Moving on. This was pretty awesome. I wonder if I can play this. In 1999, a pianist played a Mozart concerto from memory after realizing on stage that she had prepared the wrong piece.
She was shocked because she was expecting us to play another concerto.
Famed pianist Maria Joao Pires realized the orchestra had started Mozart's Piano Concerto No. 20. She instantly knew this was not the piece that she had prepared, having practiced the previous year's repertoire by mistake. She's up here covering her head. She's going, oh my God. She says, I'm going to try. I don't know if this version is copywritten, but she is just... She's an absolute wreck, and he's conducting. So he said, which one did you prepare? I have it on my schedule. I have it. He says, no, that song is the one that was left in the last season. Gotta mute it.
You do that. You know it well.
I'm sure you can do that. You know it so well. So in the middle of this mess, he's conducting and he's pumping her up like, you got this. You didn't practice it, you didn't rehearse it, but you do it so well.
Because she was expecting us to play another concerto. So when I started the first bar of the D minor concerto, she kind of jumped and panicked, like an electric shock, I think. And she couldn't consider even moving ahead playing, you know. And then we talked a moment. I was expecting to play a completely different piece. I do if I remember. And the
I can do it if I remember.
miracle is that she has such a memory that she could, within a minute, switch to a new concerto without making one mistake.
There's a lesson there about adaptability. You got to roll with some things. You got to fake it till you make it sometimes. You got to call audibles. You got to make shit up as you go sometimes. Do the best you can. And she's just gutted. She can't believe she spent her time on the wrong. I don't know exactly how it happened, but I mean, she looked putting her covering her mouth. It's like, oh God. Jumps right into the piece that she can't. On cue. Which I think is pretty darn cool. I know we just cover the news every day. It's not like easy food. I just scrolling stories, I loved that. Because we all need to call audibles and, you know, fake it till you make it. Do what you can with what you got. David Harris Jr. shows us where federal agents back a lone patriot, shoving a leftist to the ground during a physical confrontation.
You ain't bouncing me, bitch. Where's you going, man?
So the guy in the yellow has no right to be putting his hands on this guy.
Let's go. Here, keep your fucking hey. This is a woman, but you will get hurt, buddy. Keep your fucking hands to yourself.
Let's go, man.
Keep your fucking hands.
We're nonviolent.
Let's go.
We're nonviolent.
Let's go.
It's peaceful.
Let's go. Let's go. Hey, let's go. Patriots, get out of here. We need some backup, boys. We need some backup, boys. This is peaceful.
On the ground, pal. Get your hands off.
We're peaceful. We're peaceful.
Hands off.
We're peaceful.
Walk away.
Everybody back up. Everybody
back up. Don't hurt anybody. Don't hurt anybody.
There's so much of this going on in the streets. Everybody feels invincible.
Don't be a problem.
It is a stupid game to be playing.
That's what we're trying to do. Don't assault people.
Let's walk them out.
But it's happening. Some more analysis of the story that just everyone wants to talk about.
This one you can really see if you look. I mean, right there.
Yeah, he's pushed.
He's definitely pushed back. There's no.
This is Real America's Voice. They're live from Studio 6B.
No doubt about it.
I mean, I don't know what Democrats and the liberal lunatics are thinking. I mean, it's in the title of the song, right? It's in the title of the song. I fought the law and
yeah, the law won.
The law won, right? So I know, Damon, you were talking about how this woman, the thing that you read in the first segment there, basically. The driver is the one who took the first shot. As far as I'm concerned, the driver shot first.
Yeah, as soon as she accelerated with the officer in front of her.
She drew her gun when she got into that SUV. She pulled the trigger when she stepped on the gas with the ICE officer standing right in front of her.
She's a fleeing felon at that point.
Right, and the bullet was the SUV. Thankfully, missed the ICE officer. Luckily, he returned fire, and he didn't miss. And then you hear all these idiots on TV. Well, he could have shot out the tires. You watch too many movies. Stop.
That's what I said. That was my initial reaction.
Tires. It was going to take 9 seconds. He'd be before
He'd be dead in less than one if she went at him.
Right.
Why didn't you shoot the wheel out of her hand?
Yeah, exactly. That's about the same level of
That's
great.
And talking about, I think Kevin mentioned it earlier as well. The mentality of some of these people. It's that everybody gets a trophy mentality, right? Because they figure I'm special. Nothing can happen to me. Look at me. And actually, it ends up being all about them. They're not there. If they're really concerned about illegal immigrants, why is she taking some of those illegal immigrants, putting them in her car and saying, look, let's get you in here the right way. Let's get all your paperwork done. She didn't do that. She wanted to mess around, and she found out. I mean, that's basically because they think there's no consequences because, well, I'm special. Don't you see my blue hair? Don't you realize how special and smart I am? And then they realize the hard way that, Dan Bongino had some great advice. You should probably follow it.
Yeah, act irrational in high, tense moments like this. Block officers become basically, like I said, the moment she steps on the gas, she's a fleeing felon. And the officers...
An attacking felon.
Consider her a danger to the community and to
vehicles or weapons.
Everybody in that area. So, I mean, this it's a tragic situation. You can say both things. It's a certainly tragic situation, and she probably didn't have to die.
But there's another example of the culture has changed and shifted so badly. These people feel as though they are completely unaccountable for their actions. And
that's on purpose.
And it's on purpose. It's by design. I think we're all just fed up with it.
This one.
We are all just fed up with it. Donat, you make a good point there. People feel invincible because they don't care anymore. Just like that lady that tried to run over ice. She didn't care anymore. She's so outraged. But why didn't she care for her 3 kids is what we're saying. But we take your point. We all just have different perspectives on where we are. Socioeconomically, mentally, physically, spiritually. People in all different aspects have started to give up and not give a shit. It's a demoralization campaign to take America down. And the Democrats are deep state terrorists. They're the Democrat cartel. Kristen Sokolov shows us this moment here.
Really, you fucking punk? That's what you're gonna fucking do?
What?
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 What? Do you know what
Back
the fuck
up.
is that is for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
You're gonna push me? What is that for?
Back up.
What was that
I don't
for?
give a fuck.
You don't give a fuck about
Back
her?
up.
Bro, this is why we're here.
Back up.
This is why we're here.
Back up.
What's her name? Renee Good?
Back up.
And you fucking, that's a memorial to her. That's a memorial to her.
A memorial to a domestic terrorist. Potentially, if once we see all the evidence, we continue to hold the perspective that we might hold now, a memorial to that person. Memorials to George Floyd. Memorials to Renee Good. Memorials to all of these people and their actions and their choices. Deb says, when it comes to perspective, and I feel like I'm at the end of my rope, I ask myself, what would Jesus do? And it resets my brain and just gives me peace, control, and puts me in a better place. Pretty good advice. I sure as heck hope that Scott Adams has had the necessary conversation with Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior of this universe, to go to the right place when he's gone. He might have signed out for the last time today. David, thanks for being here, sir. We'll see you soon. Prayer and talking to God works for me. But a lot of the left don't believe in God, and so they turn the state into God. And that is a dangerous place to be. All right, let's share some of our stories on X. Make sure you're following us at American_media_. Keep in mind that you can drop Rumble rants and Super Chats or Venmo, Cash App, PayPals over and sign up for our Patreon, at least our free one. Please, everybody be on our free Patreon. And if you can find $10 a month for the low price of $10 a month, you too can feed a starving journalist. We're on Patreon at the New American Media. Thank you very much. Here's JD Vance talking about a new assistant attorney general position. Now, this is coming on the heels of Bongino leaving. What do we make of this one? Take a look.
If you're a young parent struggling to afford childcare in the United States of America, there are programs that we have to make it easier for your kids to get in daycare, for your kids to get in preschool. Those programs should go to American citizens, not be defrauded by Somali immigrants and others. Make it hard for you to get the access to the resources you need. But number two, making it easier for people who shouldn't even be in this country to fleece the United States and our taxpayers to begin with. We have actually activated a major interagency task force to make it possible to get to the heart of this fraud. We have Department of Agriculture resources that are focused on SNAP fraud so that people who need food benefits can get them, but illegal aliens and other fraudsters don't. We have over 1,500 subpoenas that the Department of Justice has issued to get to the heart of the fraud ring. We've done almost 100 indictments, mostly Somali immigrants, but also a few others. And of course, we're looking in with broad investigatory authority to a number of the instances of wrongdoing that we've seen in Minneapolis. But we also want to expand this. We know that the fraud isn't just happening in Minneapolis, it's also happening in states like Ohio. It's happening in states like California. And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate this remarkable interagency effort from the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
The people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way? That's a strange... in a nationwide way. There, you got one laugh out of me for the Tucker Carlson, Deb. Let me keep working on it. I really do need to just sit. I think I could master a Tucker if I work on it. But watching that other dude do it so perfectly, I feel like I need to step the game up. Thank you so much, Deb, with the super chat. $5 off the top rope. Appreciate you. Another reminder that a $5 Rumble rant will click it over so that we can authorize a transaction. So if anyone's over on Rumble, appreciate you as always. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. Yes, thank you for that. Danette says there actually is a huge demographic of what? On the left, I think most of us lost our religion and coming back. I guess, what are you saying? I guess on the left. I think most of us lost our religion or coming back to the Creator himself, but we should not divide our brothers and sisters. Oh, of religious. Okay. Well, good. Hopefully that is what happens. Because the other way is a fraud. It's a lie. It's a quick fix. It's a cheap. It's not good. It's not good. Speaking of not good, who is this guy? President of Austria. You will not believe what this guy's about to say.
Jede Frau kann ein Kopftuch tragen.
Any woman can wear a headscarf.
Und wenn das so weitergeht,
and if this continues, which brings me to my next question, with Islamophobia becoming increasingly widespread, the day will come when we will have to ask all women to wear a headscarf. All women, as solidarity with those who do so for religious reasons. That's your dumb shit comment of the day. That's oppression to have to wear a ghost costume every day. Be yourself. The oppression of women is something we're all going to do someday. No, it's not. No, it's not. Antithetical for freedom. Antithetical of liberty. Nope, we do not. Of course, I don't know if that was an accurate translation, but they purport it to be, so. Oh, no headscarves for any of us. Deb says, be yourself, Brian. That's why I like your impressions, not other people's. Yes, I know. But I need to, I don't watch his show, so I don't really have all of his mannerisms down. And I think I could get them if I listened enough. I just don't have them yet. You want to come up, bud? There. Bring him up on the elevator. All right. Hey. Mr. Bean has entered the chat. Anyway, headscarf. Okay, guy. Where am I at? Am I on my profile? No, I'm just on home. Okay. I'm like, I didn't share these stories. There's our Patreon link. Put there right up at the top of our homepage. The New American Media on Patreon. Okay, so here's the new food pyramid. Do you see it? How do you feel about this new food pyramid? Let's full screen this, or at least let's try it this way. There you go. So protein and dairy and healthy fats and vegetables and fruits. Whole grains at the very bottom. Who would have known? They got butter somewhere in the middle. Avocado above that, and then olive oil above that. You got salmon up there. You got steak up there, and cheese and chicken and veg. You got some, is that yogurt on there? Yeah, yogurt's good for probiotics. You got some seafood, some shellfish, you got your eggs there. They don't have eggs up high enough, I don't think. They got them toward the top. I eat a lot of eggs. And yes, I am a perfectionist and a impressionist. An impressionist. Loving the new food pyramid, says Marion. Good. Kenneth is at that time of the month, he's on his food period. I'm on the seafood diet. I see food and then I eat it. Meta. That's Norm Macdonald's joke telling jokes to Norm. Yeah, it says eat real food. Keep it simple. Just eat real food. They issued a statement as well regarding the new food pyramid over here on the side. HHS says, under President Trump's leadership, common sense, scientific integrity, and accountability have been restored to federal food and health policy. For decades, the dietary guidelines favored corporate interests over common sense, science-driven advice to improve the health of Americans. That ends today. The new dietary guidelines call for prioritizing high-quality protein, healthy fats, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and avoiding highly processed foods and refined carbohydrates. Whew. I haven't done my RFK Jr. in a while. It's always stressful in the sternum. But it's fun. I'm going to do a series on Bobby. Oh, here's more. Good. On the post from Secretary Kennedy under this one, he says, these guidelines return us to the basics. American households must prioritize whole, nutrient-dense foods, protein, dairy, vegetables, fruits, healthy fats, and whole grains, and dramatically reduce highly processed foods. This is how we make America healthy again. So that's how we make America healthy again, everybody. Eat real food.
My message is clear.
My Bobby's not too far off.
As Secretary of Health and Human Services, my message is clear. Eat real food. Nothing matters more for healthcare outcomes, economic productivity, military readiness, and fiscal stability as Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Military readiness. No, it won't wreck my voice. It might wreck my abs. Like I got to clench up, and it's all ab driven. So I have to. I haven't done it in a while. It's ab driven, not throat driven. But that's good. I'm pretty happy about that. Amy Meck exposes BBC platforming CARE after the deadly ICE shooting while ignoring that CARE plays a role in encouraging confrontations. A CARE operative goes on live TV and lets him smear federal agents without disclosing CARE's record of targeting ICE nationwide. They're trying to call the deceased an observer. That's not a legal term. Portray federal agents as executioners. Bullshit. Pour gasoline on an already volatile situation. That's their standard. Exit without a single hard question. Well, that's BBC for you. CARE has spent years teaching communities that ICE agents are the enemy instead of the illegal alien invaders, training activists how to obstruct federal law enforcement, and encouraging civilians to confront, harass, and chase away ICE officers. Hi, Bean. Go ahead, sit down. Let's hang out. Eyal Yacobi says a leaked BBC memo tells staff that the argument over how much aid is crossed into Gaza is irrelevant and instructs them to blame Israel regardless of the facts. They're conducting propaganda, not doing journalism, is the accusation. Tim Walz yesterday declared that Minnesota is at war with the U.S. With the federal government. What a dope.
And it's clear. Look, I don't know. I don't think any governor in history has had to fight a war against the federal government every single day.
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government.
And
lunatic. Oh, this guy is sick and dangerous. Agreed, says Rapid Response 47. On the street. Next Florida reported 5 hours ago leftists blocking DHS from moving. He calls on President Trump to federalize the National Guard and take them away from Tim Walz before this gets incredibly dangerous. You need paddy wagons and mass arrests. I don't know why this is so complicated. You cuff the people, you zip tie them to a tree. You get some device where you put them on a tree or a telephone pole, and you just daisy chain them together. Everybody just gets arrested together. We'll just keep adding them. Give us enough time, we'll arrest every last one of you sons of bitches, and we'll take you downtown. Why is this complicated? I do.
Motherfucker.
Boys in the group.
Instead of pushing people around, why aren't they just arresting them? Mehdi Hassan says, make American planes crash again? Eyal Yacobi says he deleted the tweet because it exposes he's an extremist. And Elon calls him evil. Mehdi Hassan. This appears to be satire. I'll rate it as helpful, easy to understand. An Iranian daycare in California gets 42 million, but no children have been there in 9 months. Well, I'll leave it up and I'll share it as helpful if that's true. I don't know if it's true, but it is easy to understand. I'll rate it on that. Speaking about how Gen Z's feeling and how we're all feeling, Rogan has some thoughts on it.
Wow. You know, I never really considered that until your book. Until I heard the title of your book and I read the synopsis of it. I never really considered it. I never considered that thinking about your problems all the time and talking about your problems all the time literally make the problems grow.
That's right. I mean, it's the number one symptom of depression is what they call rumination, this pathological obsessing over your pain.
Yeah.
That's why stuff like exercise, that's one of the reasons, aside from chemical reasons, one of the reasons that doing anything, you know that running errands is good for your mental health? Getting out of your house and accomplishing anything is good for you. But sitting around talking and thinking about your problems, that's a bad habit. And the best cognitive behavioral therapists and others, the dialectical behavioral therapists, the ones who do really well with depression, the first thing they do is try to break that bad pattern. But a lot of therapists just indulge it.
So there you go. Get out and do things. Accomplish some stuff. It's good for you. Marion says, that was a great RFK impression. I could hardly tell when it's you or him talking. Cool. Yeah, the people that get it really like it. I performed it one night and someone pulled me aside and go, oh my God, that is the best thing I've heard in a long time. And it's got to be the best impression I've ever heard. I was like, well, thank you so much. It was very, very kind. I appreciated the comment. I can do the Munchkins. Should I read the next story as the Munchkins? Let's see. Jelly Bean says, anyone who calls this deceased woman who is clearly obstructing her.
Wow.
Obstructing per the videos. Anyone calling her a legal observer gives themselves away. Ignore them.
Is ICE entitled to less protection than the average citizen? Are they second-class citizens now? Have we decided that we're going to put them out there as targets?
Let's see where this goes here a second. And some of the audio, just for the folks at home, we don't want it to be too abrasive, and that's why we're kind of riding this a little bit. The summer of love was hot for many reasons, including the temperature.
It's cold right now.
Cold in Minnesota. Yeah. Right now, 29 degrees, feels like 25. It's not going to get much warmer than that throughout the day. You wonder if, in a different climate, whether or not there's 2,000 people in the street, or 5,000 people.
Whether we've talked about this on the air before, the weather in these circumstances helps. Believe it or not, it matters, I should say. When it's hot, it's just human nature. When it's hot, people are irritated, they'll come out. It starts raining, all of a sudden everybody goes home. Very often, the commitment of the protesters is a mile wide.
I think we have some sort of action here on the ground. Maybe somebody being arrested, possibly. Take us in a moment like this, Paul.
I don't know. I know Ford's going to be headed out there tomorrow with news to share. Follow him. News, the number 2, share on X. Let's listen to the rhetoric that's been coming from these people and figure out how we got here.
This is Gestapo-like behavior. Plainclothes officers wearing masks are terrorizing immigrants.
The ICE issue is alarming beyond words. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process. We're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here. Wake up.
Dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany.
Oh, for the love of God. And you see him wind up. He shakes his head like, do I really have to say this out loud? But his handlers told him.
Wake up.
Dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react to now. They're taking people off the streets and sending them away. It's a 5-alarm fire, everyone.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is not the 1930s, and every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified.
Donald Trump's modern day Gestapo is...
I'm sorry, modern day what, Timmy?
No matter how long it takes, will of course be identified.
Donald Trump's modern day Gestapo is...
Gazpacho? I want some modern day gazpacho.
How long it takes will of course be identified.
Donald Trump's modern day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the street.
Gestapo. Isn't that a popular Latin boy band, Descapo?
Will of course be identified.
Donald Trump's modern day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye. Just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared. We need to make sure that there's a firewall that they have to come through before they get to them.
So that's Tim Walz trying to build a firewall of middle-aged women with 3 kids to interfere with ICE operations, legal ICE operations.
Early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recent example of this type of attack.
That was the Texas ICE facility attack. Seth Dillon shares this. Here's where Satan asks Democrats to tone down all the evil.
Thank you all for meeting with me. You're all doing some wonderful work destroying the world, but I think it's probably time for us to reevaluate.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, but I think we're in the wrong meeting. We're not here to destroy the world. We're here to save it. You see, we are some of the leading leaders of liberal causes.
Leading leaders, I like that.
And I'm with the Human Rights Campaign, who focus on LGBTQ+ and trans rights. You see, I have the equal sign to let you know that I'm a good person.
Oh, excuse me, women's reproductive rights.
Climate.
Free Palestine.
Open borders. I misspoke before. You guys are not destroying the world, okay? You are saving the world.
Hey, whoa, what's up with those scare quotes?
Pretty sure I didn't use scare quotes when I said saving the world. The important thing to keep in mind
there it is again.
is that there's a big election coming up, and we're all on the same page, okay? So if we want Biden to win, he needs to win in order for us to save the world. If we want Biden...
Anyway, it goes on, but that's pretty funny. You should watch that. CJ Pearson says an innocent girl being brutally murdered by an illegal alien while out for a jog received less outrage from Democrats than somebody who got herself killed while trying to obstruct ICE from deporting illegal aliens. Tells you everything you need to know about the left. That's a pretty strong point. That's a pretty strong point. Eric Swalwell, one of the most compromised people around. What's he got to say?
Do you have any confidence that there will be a proper investigation into the actions of this officer in the deadly shooting?
Zero confidence that the administration...
Ooh, what you doing there, pal? Kind of giving the old little hand motion there, like letting you know you're part of the club. Like the Gavin Newsom deep leg cross.
Zero confidence that the administration will do that. But that's why attorneys general across the country, in Minnesota, the Hennepin County District Attorney's Office, max out your law enforcement authorities. Don't let them get away with this. And as I look at what we can do across...
Don't let them get away with this. What do you think they're getting away with?
The country, I'm proposing that governors should revoke driver's licenses from ICE agents who roam communities in a masked way, unidentified. You've got a lot of powers. Use those powers to defend the most vulnerable people in your communities.
Do you have any
defending the most vulnerable people from illegal alien invaders? Nah, we should go after ICE. Stella Escobedo says, oh, look, it's the anti-whatever you pay me for crowd. I don't know if they're paid. Who the hell's handing out all the signs, of course?
Show me what democracy.
Oh, there you go. See, they're calling for this to happen nationwide. This is their San Antonio, New York City, Milwaukee. Yeah, Timmy Walz called for this to be nationwide. Minneapolis.
Immigrants are welcome here.
He's got it all on a cell phone app. Here's what you say. Leftists openly threatening to K ICE officers in Minnesota. right, Ben. Don't need a hairball up here on the desk. Thank you very much. Kathy Hochul, she has thoughts on what's happening.
I've asked the ICE agent, why are you wearing the mask when I was down there at the...
Man, does she look like a Halloween costume. It's like wearing a mask of a politician, maybe a robot in a skin suit. Why are you wearing the mask? Because you're getting doxxed and you're trying to you're trying to dox people and get them eliminated, like Charlie Kirk. That's why. You know,
the ICE agent, why are you wearing the mask when I was down there at the 26th Federal Plaza? I said, why do you wear the mask? No other law enforcement does this. Our police don't do it. Our FBI agents don't do it. Why are you doing this? And they said, because we get doxxed, our family gets harassed, et cetera. I said,
et cetera. You're just going to brush that off?
Et cetera. I said, why do you think you are more than anybody else? I mean, come on, you're just trying to scare people.
Because you're sicking your goofball mob on them.
I mean, come on, you're just trying to scare people. You're terrorizing people yourselves, and I don't want to see that. So we don't need that here. We're doing just fine in New York.
You are not doing fine in New York.
The mayor and I will stand together and reject any efforts to try and militarize our streets, but they never should have been in Minneapolis in the first place. I've asked them.
No, the Democrats shouldn't have flooded America with illegal aliens in the first place. You can't blame Trump for cleaning it up. Hey, never forget when Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara tells Somalians to call 911 if ICE shows up. Remember this gem. This is the head of the police department running Minneapolis into the ground.
Folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports.
There you go. Yep. ICE are kidnapping people from the police chief. No accountability. This is just what passes for reality now. The Minneapolis police chief saying you're just being kidnapped.
Folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports.
Oh, you're just saying that they've had those reports. That doesn't mean it's true. You just mean somebody said it. You mean like you.
I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that, that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911. And you should provide as much information as possible, because let's not forget, we very recently had tragedy in this state by someone who was purporting to be law enforcement. So please, let's be clear. That's something everyone should report, and that we will immediately respond to, and we will document, whether it's somebody's not sure if there's a kidnapping happening, somebody's not sure if there's law enforcement present or not. And that's something else that's additional policy requirements that we are implementing, that we will document and report these types of things anytime that we hear it, and reminding our officers of their duty to intervene. So if there is anything that is, a violation of someone's human rights or civil rights, excessive force or anything like that, they absolutely have a duty to intervene as police officers.
Yeah, way to twist the issue, pal. This guy is a solid take. This Kazan D. Asaidu. That's 4 minutes long. President Trump a few months ago talking about the Insurrection Act. We'll see. Taya makes this claim that an anti-harassment ad makes all these perpetrators white. Media regularly portraying white people is the problem.
Nothing.
Enough.
Look at me when I'm talking to you. Just show me the messages. Give me the phone.
Enough.
Am I really that bad?
I'm not gonna say anything.
There you go, Europe. Their demonization campaign. Here's an Antifa goon saying, "We have your face. We will get justice for a fallen comrade, whether it be judicial justice or street justice," to the ICE agent who shot the woman that tried to run him over. Wow. Dustin Grage reporting Minneapolis Public Schools canceled school for the remainder of the week, citing safety concerns, or to give people more time to ramp this up even more. They will not even be allowing e-learning. Molly Hemingway says, "My tolerance for left-wing lawlessness ended in 2020 during their BLM riots. And now I'm just so done with it. I can't possibly express how done with it I am. The country can't survive the left's support for lawlessness. It is destroying us. Well said. Minnesota State Senator Zainab Mohammed claims that the woman who attempted to run over an ICE agent with her car was trying to leave the scene in a way that's peaceful. While being arrested? You know, you can't do that when you're being arrested. Democrats are seriously unwell.
No, not at all. And I think America sees the video and they see the lies that are being pushed by this federal government. The video clearly shows that this woman was trying to leave the scene in a way that's peaceful. And what the federal government and the president are doing is pushing a propaganda about the victim. And it is meant to protect them and instill fear in people.
Wow. More than a dozen legal experts reviewed the various videos of attack on ICE agents in Minneapolis, determining the shooting of the domestic terrorist known as Renee Nicole Good was 100% justified. I don't see a list of the legal experts. Clay Travis says ICE agents are being swarmed by protesters. Arrest all these people who make any contact at all and throw away the keys.
So what happened just now is that these Border Patrol officers have gotten themselves surrounded.
Well, the Trump budgets here, what are they waiting for to get 10 times the amount of forces so you can just arrest the troublemakers? This doesn't have to be this way. Data Republican says if most of them are refugees and not actually U.S. citizens, how are they voting Democratic? It's a good question. If you think the fraud in Minnesota is bad, just wait till you get a load of what's happening in California, they say. Yeah, this might be, you might not be ready for this, but your kids are going to love it. This is a Jim Bob cartoon, I think. If removing all guns saves just one life, then it's worth it. Well, then, if deporting all illegals saves just one life, would that be worth it? Good question. What is this? Grok answer saying 2019 genetic study showing Somalis have 49% inbreeding coefficients, indicating first or second cousin percentage. That according to Grok, according to this post. Oh, is that the person that she fake married, her brother? That's the accusation. Let's see if it's true. Let's see the DNA test. Prove it. Or stop talking about it. The difference between Muslims and Christian countries. You know, it's just an AI-generated image, right? And then when you have Christians in Muslim countries, they're not just blocking the roads, they're getting beheaded. It's very non-tolerant, so it seems. They continued here, Wall Street Apes, there was a couple of these. If wearing bikinis are banned in Islamic countries, shouldn't wearing ghost costumes be banned in Western countries? Yeah. Wall Street Apes, Golden Age Contrarian Think Tank continued. This is a dump from a few of these topics. Liberalism is a religion of self-hatred, teaching white people to hate their race, boys to hate their sex, women to hate their femininity, Americans to hate their country, Westerners to hate their history. What a loathsome, poisonous thing that it is. Golden Age with another reminder that white slaves were sold for centuries. All ancestors took slaves, sold slaves, or were slaves. You're not special. Black people owned and sold slaves. Asian people, Native people, Middle Eastern people owned and sold slaves. Everyone's ancestors participated in slavery. It wasn't exclusive to any one group. Stop trying to make people feel guilty for things that they didn't do. These grooming gangs, but they call them grooming. It's the grape word, really. 1 million white British girls were AR'd. 99% of the perpetrators were Pakistani, according to this post. In one Pakistani family, all 3 sons were child artists. Not a single abused girl was Muslim or Pakistani. It says, this could be us having a great time, but diversity saved us by burning the world down. And here's an old white lady with a couple of items for the week. And you have an immigrant with unlimited funds from Democrat sources behind him with an entire cart full of food. Free food. I'm sorry, food paid for by you. Wall Street Apes shares a Somalian man named Mohammed takes the podium in Maine to deliver a warning to Democrats. If you keep talking about the fraud taking place, the entire voting community will abandon Democrats. He actually says this. So deport them all. Monica Crawley says, this seems like a good time to re-up this invaluable piece of advice from Chris Rock. How to not get your ass kicked by the... Obey the law. Oh, this is a good skip, but I can't really play it for you.
I'd like to see more than you getting your ass kicked.
But there's another one from Chappelle where keeping it real goes wrong. Very awesome skits. You should check these out if you've never seen them. There's the close-up of the dude getting hit by the car that he obviously was. And trigger warning here, literally, here's body cam video of Baltimore police officer Amy Caprio, who was ran over and K'd in a similar situation to the Minneapolis ICE shooting. It happens in a millisecond.
Continued to advance, Officer Caprio got off one shot. WJZ won't show the rest, but a somber jury saw and heard Amy Caprio dying from massive crushing injuries.
Yeah, it is totally a weapon. Bill Malugin confirms with ICE to Fox News that they've arrested a Somalian illegal alien sex offender in Minneapolis with a prior conviction in 2016 for first-degree criminal conduct for forcing a victim to perform on him multiple times. Mahad Abdul Qadir Yusuf also arrests for first-degree assault and an active warrant from 24 from obstructing police. ICE say they previously tried to arrest him at his apartment, but the building manager blocked ICE from entering and shielded the convicted S offender. This time they got him in a targeted operation. ICE says thanks to the sanctuary policies of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, this dangerous criminal was free to prowl the streets and victimize Minneapolis residents for years. And those are the people the Democrats want to be at war with, the ones arresting the bad guys.
Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government. I think in this case that the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission.
At war with the people removing the bad guys. That's how bad things are right now. In leading report says Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has been referred to the DOJ for criminal charges for allegedly knowingly being complicit in the Somali fraud scandal. And that's where I'm going to stop for today. Thank you all for being here. A lot of news to unpack. I could give another 2-3 hours on Twitter, but I got cats to feed. Don't I, Mr. Ben? Ben's really come out of his shell lately. Yeah. Haven't you, bud? But thank you all for being here as we try to unpack the news. 72-hour rule in effect. We've seen what we've seen. It appears to tell one side of the story. Got to be open to other alternatives. And yeah, there could have been conflicting orders given at the door. You know, the problem with being masked and not having identification of some sort is that, you know, it could be claimed that they didn't know it was police, that they didn't know this, that, or the other. Whether you believe him or not, that's up to you. Do you believe Ben laying on my arm? He's laying across my arm. Anyway, we'll unpack the news as we find it each and every day here on the TNAM Daily Show. Tell a few friends, invite them over. We do this Monday through Friday at noon Eastern time. Check out our episode of Strictly Football this week, covering a preview of the playoffs. They start tomorrow. So sign up, come over, check it out. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk again soon. Take care, everybody.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.